Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt as if time itself were breathing slowly around you? Have you wondered what unseen forces guide the passage of hours, the turning of days, and the quiet rhythm of seasons? Tonight, as the Ethiopian sky stretches in deep indigo above, sprinkled with stars that shimmer like scattered jewels, we are invited to step into a world where angels move gently, almost imperceptibly, shaping the flow of time itself. Perhaps you have felt moments when life seems suspended, when the ordinary hum of the world fades, and a quiet stillness surrounds you. In those moments, might the angels be at work, guiding each heartbeat, each whisper of the wind, each subtle change in light. In Ethiopia, a land cradled by ancient mountains and nourished by the whispers of history, the night sky has always been more than a backdrop. It is a living map, a sacred canvas where angels dance through hours, where stars and moonlight mark the rhythm of life. The sacred calendar here is not simply a method of counting days, it is a divine melody, flowing through generations, linking the heavens with human experience. Each day, each month, carries the memory of ancient wisdom, a record of how celestial beings have watched over the passage of time for countless ages. Imagine the heavens not as distant and cold, but as tender and alive, as if every twinkle is a soft hand guiding the unfolding story of life. Long ago, before the written chronicles of nations and kingdoms, the people of Ethiopia observed the skies with reverence. They noticed the sun tracing its gentle arc across the horizon, the moon slipping quietly through the night, and the stars arranging themselves into familiar patterns. Each movement was carefully recorded, not as a scientific chart, but as a sacred dialogue between humans and the divine. Angels, it was believed, were the silent stewards of this cosmic order, overseeing the flow of days and seasons, ensuring that the world moved in harmony. The Book of Enoch and other sacred texts whisper hints of this celestial guidance, painting a picture of a universe alive with intention, where the passage of time itself is watched, guarded, and celebrated. As we look up tonight, the silence of the Ethiopian plains and the gentle flicker of distant stars invite reflection. Can you sense the presence of something unseen, something timeless, as you breathe in the cool night air? Angels, imagined or real, are said to trace invisible paths across the sky, their movements intertwined with the turning of the earth, the changing of the seasons, and the quiet unfolding of human life. In a world that often rushes, full of clamor and light, these stories remind us that there is a rhythm beyond our own, a sacred cadence that continues whether we notice it or not. The night sky, so calm and vast, becomes a teacher of patience, a keeper of memory, and a gentle witness to the lives below. Perhaps you have felt, in moments of quiet, the passage of time as something more than clocks and calendars. Perhaps it has felt like a gentle tide, carrying stories, memories, and whispers of angels through the fabric of your own life. Ethiopia's sacred calendar reflects this understanding. Each year is divided into cycles, not merely to measure days, but to honor the divine order that has guided humanity through generations. Festivals, rituals, and prayers mark these cycles, intertwining earthly life with the celestial realm. In this way, the stars, the moon, and the angels themselves become companions on a journey that is at once ancient and present, cosmic and intimately human. Tonight, as you settle into a quiet space, perhaps under a blanket or by a window overlooking the night, imagine the soft movements of these celestial guardians. They glide through the hours, barely perceptible, ensuring that the flow of time is steady, serene, and unbroken. Imagine that with each tick of the clock, there is a gentle hand guiding the rhythm of your world, helping the sun to rise and fall, helping the seasons to shift, helping life itself to unfold in gentle harmony. There is comfort in imagining that we are never truly alone, that the vastness of time and space is not empty, but lovingly tended by unseen watchers who care for the balance of all things. Before we continue this journey into the stories of angels, time, and the sacred calendar of Ethiopia, take a moment to ground yourself. Notice the quiet within, the slow heartbeat, the subtle rhythm of your own breathing. Feel the connection between your life and the night sky above, between your pulse and the gentle flow of time. If this story speaks to you, if you feel drawn to these celestial whispers, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so we can continue exploring these ancient tales together. And in the comments, please share your name, the city you are watching from, and the time of night you are experiencing this video. Let the angels of the night guide us as we begin this journey. One story, 1 hour, one sacred moment at a time. In the quiet parts of Ethiopia, people have always felt time more than they have measured it. In this old land, time flows like a living river, breathing with the world itself. This is different from the strict ticking of clocks that rules modern life. It's not enough to just count the days. You have to live them. Each one has its own weight, rhythm, and resonance. People in Ethiopia have known for a long time that the hours, the seasons changing, and even the gentle movement of shadows are all part of a grand, cyclical dance that happens over and over again, but never exactly the same way. In this place, time is not a line but a circle. Yesterday whispers into today, and today gently leads tomorrow. Angels, whose presence is subtle but always there, are in charge of this sacred flow. They trace the passage of each moment with gentle precision. Picture the sun slowly rising over the mountains in the distance, casting a golden light over the valleys. The ancients didn't just see the start of a day. They saw the careful, deliberate steps of celestial guardians setting the rhythm of life. Every hour was important, and angels touched every day to make sure that the patterns of the heavens matched up with life on earth. The Ethiopian view of time is different from the modern view, which sees minutes and seconds as enemies of productivity and something to be conquered or managed. Instead, it encourages reflection, patience, and a quiet awareness of being part of something much bigger. This way of looking at things values cycles, repetition, and the unseen guidance that keeps the universe in balance. People who lived under these patterns learned that time was both fluid and purposeful, as the sun moved across the sky and the shadows grew and shrank. The moon wasn't just a sign of night, it was also a soft friend that lit up paths and gently reminded people of how life goes in cycles. Stars didn't just hang in the sky far away and cold, they moved on purpose, setting the pace for the months and seasons. People thought of angels as the guardians of this order, and they could feel their presence in the balance between light and dark, day and night, growth and rest. Every moment was a note in a symphony that played for generations, and people were invited to move with it instead of against it. This understanding has a soft kind of wisdom, a calmness that modern life doesn't often allow. We rush through hours today, as if they were tasks to do, cramming them into schedules, alarms, and deadlines. We judge life by how productive we are, but we forget that moments have meaning beyond what we do or achieve. The ancients in Ethiopia believed that every cycle of the sun and every phase of the moon was part of a sacred rhythm that fed both the body and the soul. Angels weren't just made up. They were symbols of care, protection, and the unseen forces that made life possible in harmony. People were reminded of their presence when they thought about it. Time, like the wind, flows in currents that can't be seen but can be felt. During planting and harvesting, the cycles of time were very important for survival and respect. Farmers looked at the sky to find out when it would rain and when the sun would shine best. But there was more than just practical reasons for this. There was a sense of a deeper order. People thought that angels guided these natural processes so that seeds would germinate, water would flow, and crops would ripen at the right time. The same level of care was given to rituals and holy holidays, which marked the year as signs of heavenly order. Every festival was a reminder of the invisible rhythm that connected the earth and the sky. It was a gentle lesson in being patient and paying attention. In this world, people weren't in charge of time. They were part of it, dancing along with angels who quietly controlled the cycles that shaped every part of life. The cyclical nature of time also had a deep spiritual meaning. People thought of life as a series of returns, with each moment echoing the past, and reminding people that everything they do, think, and pray adds to a bigger, ongoing story. The cycles of birth, growth, death, and rebirth were seen in the sky, where stars moved, the moon waxed and waned, and the sun moved in an arc. In this view, angels were not far away or abstract. They were very much a part of keeping things in balance and making sure that cosmic and earthly cycles worked together. There was no hurry to get to the end or move on. Every moment was important, a part of the eternal rhythm that angels took such good care of. People thought about angels in small, almost unnoticeable ways even in their daily lives. A cool breeze at the right time, the soft light of dawn spilling over a valley, or the stars quietly lining up above, could all be seen as signs of their quiet work. Kids were taught to watch and listen and to understand that time wasn't just a series of events. It was a living, breathing thing. Every hour taught us how to be balanced and pay attention. People in Ethiopia didn't see time as an enemy like we do now. Instead, they saw it as a flow that they could fully inhabit, guided by invisible hands that kept everything moving smoothly, like dancers in a slow, silent ballet. There is no clearer difference between the two views. Ethiopians saw hours as sacred friends, while we see them as things we can buy and sell. We try to change time to fit our needs, but the ancients followed its lead and found comfort in its unchanging nature and purpose. Angels were a reminder that we can't control time. We have to honor it, move through it, and respect it. Every second and every breath was a gift from beings who were kind, quiet, and always there. This understanding of time as a cycle helped me become more patient, aware, and peaceful in everything I did. As night falls and the stars slowly wake up, you can almost feel the angels moving around to keep the cosmic order. They move in a way that is almost imperceptible, but their effect is felt everywhere. They help the moon move through the hours, the stars move through the seasons, and life itself move through the cycles of growth and rest. When you look up at the Ethiopian night sky, you can see this hidden dance and feel the harmony between the human experience and the rhythm of the stars. And as the people of ancient Ethiopia knew, moving in time with this rhythm makes life feel like a smooth, flowing story instead of a series of rushed tasks or broken moments. When you think about this, you realize that time is more than just a measurement. It is a living thing, a rhythm that connects people, angels, and the heavens in a quiet, lasting dance. Every day remembers cycles that have already happened and promises cycles that are yet to come. Each moment is guided by unseen hands of guardians who make sure that nothing moves too quickly, nothing falls out of step, and everything stays in its sacred place. This way of thinking encourages people to live more slowly and with more purpose. It invites people to watch, think, and get in line with the cosmic flow. The angels' protection is both subtle and deep. They don't give orders. They give advice. They don't rush. They stay calm. People learn through their quiet work that time is not an enemy to fight, but a friend to follow. A living pulse that flows through every season, day and night. The Ethiopian night stretches on, reminding anyone who looks at it that time is sacred, cyclical, and cared for by God. This rhythm has been going on for generations and will continue, with angels who never get tired of watching over it. The angels move in a slow, steady rhythm across the quiet Ethiopian sky, where stars twinkle like soft lanterns on a deep velvet curtain. They are always there, even though you can't see them. They guide the flow of hours, the turning of days, and the small changes in the seasons with a gentle, watchful care. 4 archangels stand out among these heavenly protectors when it comes to keeping the universe in harmony. People often picture Uriel as a peaceful presence who moves with calm patience. His name means the light of wisdom. His eyes touch the world with quiet understanding, making sure that time goes on in its natural order. Michael, strong and determined, has a protective strength that keeps an eye on the balance of light and dark and guards the transition from day to night. Raphael heals not only the hearts of people, but also the delicate threads of the universe, fixing any problems with the rhythm of life. Gabriel, a messenger of clarity and guidance, whispers instructions that help both the movements of heavenly bodies and the events that happen to people. Each of these angels has a personality that makes them easy to relate to. It's almost as if you can feel their presence, like the warmth of a breeze or the soft pull of moonlight. Their roles are not just for show. The archangels keep a close eye on the rhythms of Ethiopia's sacred calendar, which include the movement of days and nights, the waxing and waning of moons, and the cyclical pattern of seasons. Uriel, who is very wise, makes sure that the hours go by without any rush or delay, that the sun rises and sets in the right order, and that the light touches the world in a gentle way. Michael's watchfulness keeps the lines between night and day clear, protecting the fragile shift from dark to light, and making sure that the hours stay in their holy order. Raphael, in his healing presence, takes care of any problems that may come up, smoothing out the rhythms that govern planting, growth, and harvest. Gabriel's whispers are like gentle pushes that help people act in line with the cycles of time. This way, prayers, festivals, and everyday activities are in line with the heavenly order above. Think about a cool morning in the Ethiopian highlands. The sun rises over the horizon, and the light starts to warm the valleys. Uriel moves quietly with the first rays of light, making sure that every second of morning is clear and that shadows stretch evenly across the land. Michael stands at the edge of dawn like a guard, keeping watch over the line between the quiet of night and the waking of day. Raphael's touch heals the problems that were still there from the night before, and Gabriel brings messages of alignment, gently waking people up getting them ready, and getting them to join in the rhythm that is happening. Each angel has a role in this gentle dance, and their movements weave together the invisible threads that connect the heavens to life on earth. The angels keep watch in quiet, almost unnoticeable ways at noon, when the sun is high and the world feels the weight of warmth and light. The steady movement of shadows shows Uriel's wisdom. It makes sure that they don't change too quickly, which makes time feel like it is always flowing and peaceful. Michael's protective presence is like the trunk of a tree, which keeps the day steady so that each hour stays true to itself. Raphael's influence can be seen in the way that work, rest, and food come together naturally, without any stress or conflict. Gabriel moves in a way that is almost imperceptible, giving people advice that helps them know when to act, when to gather, when to think, or when to rest. They all work together to make a gentle rhythm, a flow that makes life feel like it moves with the universe's soft pulse. As the afternoon turns into evening, the Archangel's care becomes more peaceful. Uriel watches over the fading light, making sure that the sun sets slowly, leaving behind a sky full of warmth and shadow. Michael keeps an eye on the edges of night as it slowly moves across the land, keeping chaos and disorder at bay that could upset the peaceful balance. Raphael's touch fixes any problems in the day's events, smoothing out problems in both people's lives and nature. Gabriel, as always, is the guide. He whispers hints to help hearts and minds get ready for nightfall. In this smooth flow, time stops being a measurement and becomes a living, flowing thing. People can feel it in their breathing, in the winds turning, and in the trees' gentle sway as the sun goes down. They also take care of the seasons. Uriel makes sure that the first light reaches every valley in the spring, when the earth wakes up from the quiet of winter. This helps flowers and crops grow in time. Michael keeps seedlings and young plants safe from sudden changes, like strong winds or cold weather that comes out of nowhere. Raphael cares for the soil, healing it and helping the life that wants to grow. Gabriel whispers advice to people about when to do things, when to celebrate, and when to plant, so that everything fits with heavenly patterns. During the summer, the angels keep working in small, almost invisible ways to keep the delicate balance between light and shadow, warmth and moisture. Every season flows into the next, and every month has a sound that echoes the presence of these guardians that we can't see. During the quiet time of autumn, when the harvest is gathered, Uriel's wisdom helps people see how important each moment is. Michael's protection makes sure that changes go smoothly. Raphael heals things that have been worn or disturbed, and Gabriel leads people to honor the cycles with thanks and reflection. Winter comes quietly, and the angels' work becomes more thoughtful, making sure that the land, life, and even time itself can rest slowly without being disturbed. They move quietly, steadily, and without being seen, but you can feel them in the deep calm of the night, in the rhythmic quiet of snowfall or gentle frost, and in the slow unfolding of rest before the cycle starts over. People think that these archangels are involved in even the smallest things, guiding not only the big changes in days and seasons, but also the small ones in life. The calm alignment of dawn, the soft passing of afternoon shadows, and the soft glow of evening all have their own effects. Their personalities make them easy to talk to, and their work is always kind and steady. One can picture Uriel stopping to watch the world's softest movements, Michael standing strong as a protector, Raphael calming flaws, and Gabriel giving the quietest advice. They make a cosmic rhythm that is both soft and exact, and if people stop and listen, they can feel it. In this view, the world has a pulse that moves like angels do. Time is not harsh or mechanical. It is sacred, fluid, and balanced. The hours and seasons move like a song, and the archangels are in charge of each note. Being around them teaches us to be patient, aware, and in tune with others, and it helps us see life as part of a bigger, more harmonious plan. Living in their rhythm means feeling a soft connection between the heavens and the earth, and sensing the unseen guardians whose work makes sure that every moment, every change, and every season happens with grace. The Watcher's solar calendar unfolds like a delicate tapestry in the quiet rhythm of the heavens. Celestial guardians carefully weave each day, month, and season. This calendar, which is kept in the old Book of Enoch, is not like the way we usually count days. It is a living, breathing system that shows how divine order works and measures not only the passage of time, but also the flow of life itself. It lasts for 364 days and is divided up perfectly, with each day having its own sound and each week and month having its own meaning. Picture a year in which every moment is watched, every day has a purpose, and every cycle of light and dark is guided by unseen hands that keep everything in perfect harmony. The year starts off slowly, with the sun rising at just the right angle to light up the valleys and mountains. This marks the start of the holy cycle. The months are carefully arranged to follow the sun's path across the sky, and the weeks, which are made up of 7 days each, are like soft ripples in a calm lake that moves steadily and predictably. Some days are normal, while others are holy and meant for prayer, reflection, and ritual. These holy days are not just days. They are times when the human and the divine meet. Angels are thought to come down in a subtle way to make sure that the calendar's rhythm stays the same and that time flows smoothly and without interruption. People think that angels, especially Uriel and Michael, are very involved in this upkeep. Uriel's wisdom makes sure that the days go by in the right order, that no hour is missed or rushed, and that the sun's light touches the earth in a gentle way. Michael, watchful and steadfast, protects the borders of months, keeping the holy days safe and making sure that the seasons change without any problems. Raphael fixes any problems, whether they are in how people act or in the earth's own subtle patterns. Gabriel brings messages that remind people to honor these moments, to pay attention to the cycles, and to join in the sacred rhythm that is in line with the heavens. The calendar becomes more than just a tool when they all take care of it. It becomes a living conversation between the divine and the mortal, a bridge between earth and sky. As the first month goes on, the sun moves slowly and steadily across the sky, and people, guided by angels, find that their lives are quietly in line with the patterns of the stars. Every day brings a small change in the light, a small change in the length of the shadows, or the soft glow of dawn and dusk. Some days are set aside for reflection, gratitude, and community gatherings. These are the holy days, when the rhythm of life stops for a moment to honor the divine orchestration. During these times, the Watchers are always there, even if we can't see them. Their presence keeps the year in perfect order and keeps heaven and earth in harmony. The calendar stresses balance in the middle of the year, when the sun is at its highest point. Days and nights are almost the same length, and the angelic guardians make sure that the world shows this balance. Shadows fall at just the right angles. Streams and rivers flow in harmony with the seasons, and people are told to follow rituals that honor both light and dark. Raphael's soft touch smooths out the land, taking care of the soil, the crops, and the peaceful places where life rests before the next cycle starts. Gabriel's gentle guidance inspires people to follow these heavenly signs and plant, harvest, rest, and celebrate in ways that are in line with the divine order. The sacred days here are very special because they are when the veil between heaven and earth feels thinnest. You can feel the presence of angels in the quiet flow of time, in the calm of a perfect sunrise, or in the hush of a twilight that lasts just a little longer than usual. The calendar changes from summer to fall with a level of accuracy that seems almost magical. Every month changes slowly, but the weeks stay the same. Sacred days are a time to think about and be thankful for the good things that have happened. Michael keeps an eye on the borders between these times to make sure that the change from light to dark and from warm to cool stays smooth. Uriel, who is patient and bright, makes sure that the days line up with the sun's path. Raphael, on the other hand, takes care of the earth and makes sure that the cycles of growth and decay stay the same. Gabriel tells people to honor these times and take a moment to think about how fragile life, time, and the celestial order that has guided the world for generations are. Winter comes with a calmness, and the calendar is full of rest and reflection. During this time of year, the days are shorter and the nights are longer. The holy days are times of deep thought, when people are invited to align their hearts with the rhythm of the heavens. Angels are always there to help the earth and its people through these small changes. The 364-day calendar's flow makes sure that no cycle is cut short, no month or week is missed, and every holy day happens at the right time. Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel watch over the gentle rhythm of the sun, moon, and stars. This rhythm can be felt in the way people breathe, in the quiet movement of the wind, and in the soft glow of dawn that hints at the coming new year. Each holy day on the calendar has a soft, almost physical presence. Festivals aren't just social events. They're times when the watchers, who guide people to experience the alignment of earth, sky, and soul, fill the air with divine energy. Every day teaches us something new, like how to notice the quiet, think about things, act with purpose, and respect the unseen forces that keep things in balance. Uriel's wisdom helps people be aware. Michael's vigilance keeps things in order. Raphael's healing presence fixes any problems, and Gabriel's whispers remind people of timing, alignment, and devotion. The solar calendar becomes a close friend, a guide through the year, and proof that time itself is organized in a gentle way. The angels keep the cosmic rhythm going with tireless care every day of the week and every month of the year. People who watch and take part in these cycles learn about the importance of timing, flow, and the quiet joy of being in sync with a universe that moves with a gentle purpose. The 364-day solar calendar is more than just a way to keep track of time. It is a bridge between heaven and earth, a rhythm that can be felt in every part of life, and a mirror of the watcher's gentle, watchful care, which keeps the cycles of light and shadow, growth and rest in perfect harmony. The stars shine like little lanterns in the vastness of the night sky over the quiet lands of Ethiopia. They are not just points of light. They are gentle helpers of the angels, each one moving with a purpose and taking part in the careful orchestration of cosmic order. The stars seem to breathe softly as the night stretches across the horizon. They trace slow arcs in the sky, leading the eye and heart to a rhythm that has been around for a long time. They reflect the light of unseen guardians like Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, who keep an eye on things so that time seasons, and life on Earth stay in harmony and peace. The stars are part of the cosmic rhythm in this way. They shine not for themselves, but for the balance of the universe. The stars move in a slow, gentle dance that has been going on since the beginning of time. Every constellation and group of stars has a purpose and a story. They move across the sky without us noticing as the hours go by. The people of ancient Ethiopia looked at these patterns with awe, knowing that the heavens are full of purpose. The stars show when sacred days are, when the solar calendar's cycles happen, and when rituals, planting, and harvesting should take place. They are silent messengers who carry out the angels' wishes. Their glow serves as a constant reminder that every moment is in perfect balance. You can almost see the stars stretching and curving, twirling in their dance, each step on purpose, and each movement a whisper of the divine order that is kept above. It seems like Uriel's wisdom shines through the stars, lighting up the patterns that people want to understand. Michael's strength holds the vastness in place, keeping the dance of the stars steady and unbroken. Raphael moves through the stars like a gentle healer, fixing the hidden breaks in the cosmic rhythm. Gabriel whispers advice to people who look up at the night sky, helping them align their lives with the heavens. The angels and stars work together to keep a harmony so fragile that even the smallest disturbance could cause ripples in time and space. But they move so carefully that everything stays in quiet, steady balance. There are signs of tension even in the wide-open sky. Sacred texts tell stories about fallen angels, beings who used to be part of the divine order, but now subtly change the rhythm of creation. Their presence isn't violent or obvious. It's more like a gentle, unpredictable breeze that slightly changes the harmony, making small dissonances in the otherwise perfect dance of the stars. Sometimes, a constellation looks a little off. A moment of unexpected darkness flashes among the light, or a holy day feels a little off. These small disturbances remind us that the cosmic order is fragile and that we need to be careful to keep things in balance. But even then, the archangels work hard to bring things back into balance by guiding the stars back into place and making sure that time flows and seasons change as they should. Picture yourself standing under the Ethiopian night sky, surrounded by the quiet of the land. The stars above twinkle softly, making soft trails across the sky. You might feel a slight pull of disorder, a slight shimmer of tension that the fallen angels have left behind. However, the calm, steady movements of the guardians above quickly balance this out. Every star has its own spot. Every change in light and shadow is planned, and even the smallest disturbance is handled with care. This keeps the universe alive and breathing, like a tapestry that hums with the presence of angels and the light of many stars. The stars also help people understand their lives by showing them how time and life work. They show the months and weeks of the holy calendar, light the way for holy festivals, and give visual cues that connect the heavens with the earth below. The people of ancient Ethiopia saw these patterns and found comfort in their unchanging nature and beauty. People may feel a small change in their mood, energy, or intuition when an angel moves or a star moves a little. The pulse of life reflects the rhythm of the heavens. By looking at the stars, people learn to slow down and be more deliberate, which honors the divine order that guides every hour and season. The stars don't dance quickly or in a chaotic way. They move slowly, smoothly, and with a purpose. Every moment is connected to the next, and every movement echoes through time and space. The angels' guidance makes sure that even the smallest problems caused by fallen angels are fixed, that the holy days of the calendar still have meaning, and that the patterns of light and shadow on Earth stay calm and predictable. This careful upkeep lets people join in the rhythm of creation, find times of quiet and reflection, and feel the presence of guardians who keep the universe in perfect balance. The stars are also friends of the human soul at night. Their soft glow is comforting and reminds people that the universe is in order and being watched over. Even when there is a small amount of tension, like a flicker of darkness or a slight misalignment, it is still there. The archangels carefully guide each star back into place, bringing back the balance that lets the sacred rhythm of time flow without stopping. The stars show Uriel's wisdom, Michael's watchfulness keeps their arcs steady, Raphael keeps the balance, and Gabriel's whispers of guidance touch people's hearts. The night sky becomes a mirror of God's love, reminding us that even when things aren't going well, the bigger picture stays the same. The presence of fallen angels adds depth to the heavenly story by showing that harmony is never guaranteed and must be carefully maintained. These little things that get in the way are like tiny ripples in a huge ocean. They are almost impossible to see, but they are important to those who pay close attention. The archangels are always working to make sure that the cosmic dance stays beautiful, smooth, and elegant by gently correcting these small mistakes. People are also invited to watch and learn from this delicate maintenance, which teaches them to be patient, pay attention, and trust the universe's rhythm. The stars keep dancing slowly and carefully as the night goes on, and their soft light shows how carefully the angels watch over them. People know that fallen angels have some subtle tensions, but they never let them get in the way of the cosmic order. Every glimmer, every arc, and every moment of light is part of a living rhythm that has lasted through the ages and connects people, angels, and the heavens in a quiet, lasting harmony. The Ethiopian sky is big and bright, and it feels like time is passing. People imagine celestial beings guiding the flow of life, and the gentle dance of the stars reminds everyone who looks up that the universe is both gentle and precise, full of invisible care and eternal rhythm. Not all angels stayed in perfect harmony with the divine rhythm in the quiet vastness of the heavens. Some of the guardians of time and light started to go off track, their curiosity leading them to places they shouldn't have gone. These fallen angels, who used to be part of the heavenly order, started to share secret information with people. The lessons they taught weren't simple truths. They were pieces of power, an understanding that upset the fragile balance of time and life. They talked in hushed tones about the mysteries of the universe, the forces that make things happen, and the hidden energies that control the earth. People were eager to learn, but the effect of this knowledge was small but deep. The air felt different, like there was a little bit of tension in the soft pulse of the world around them. For thousands of years, angels have guided people with their soft cadence. Now, people are stuck between understanding and disruption. It used to be normal for the seasons and days to flow smoothly, but now they are unpredictable and uneven. It was hard to tell when to plant crops that were supposed to ripen easily, and the rhythms of sacred festivals felt off. There was a soft feeling of unease that hung over everyday life, like a melody that skipped a note here and there. People couldn't see the fallen angels, but they could feel the small changes in the wind, the strange patterns in the night sky, and the strange changes in the flow of time itself. The stars, which are always there to help the angels, even seemed to pause for a moment before going back to their slow, steady paths. People were very interested in what the fallen angels had to say. They taught people about metallurgy, astronomy, herbal medicine, and arts that had never been seen before. But this knowledge came with a price. The cosmic balance was thrown off by telling these secrets. People gained control over some parts of nature, but they still didn't know how to wait for the right time for creation. If you plant a seed at the wrong time, it might not grow evenly. If you pick a harvest too early or too late, it might not work. Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel had been keeping the sacred rhythm going, but now forces that wanted curiosity over harmony were pushing it. Each disruption was small, almost unnoticeable, but when they added up, they made people feel uneasy, like there was a quiet tension in the air that they couldn't quite put their finger on. The angels weren't bothered by mistakes made by people, but they could feel the small changes and moved carefully to keep the balance. Uriel, with his light of wisdom, kept an eye on the flow of hours to make sure that the basic order of time stayed the same, even when people were learning things they shouldn't. Michael, watchful and steadfast, kept an eye on the sacred days and months, stopping the chaos from spreading too far into the solar calendar's cycles. Raphael, who was kind and healing, worked to fix problems in the land and the natural order. He took care of both the soil and the sky. Gabriel, on the other hand, whispered advice to people, encouraging them to think about things and gently return to the rhythms of the universe. Even though things were going wrong, the angels' quiet presence kept the world from falling into chaos. They kept time flowing smoothly and steadily, which let life go on with gentle predictability. The tension that the fallen angels caused was never loud or violent. It was like a tree swaying in a light storm, a small change that could be felt more than seen. People sometimes noticed little things that were off, like a night that lasted a little longer than they thought it would, a sunrise that seemed to stay on the horizon for a long time, or a sudden feeling of unease during religious ceremonies. These small, gentle irregularities made people think and question what they thought they knew about the world and the natural order. The angels watched and whispered and nudged them back, helping them deal with the new problems that came up because of the forbidden teachings. There was no harsh punishment, just a quiet lesson in being aware of forces much bigger than themselves, being patient, and finding balance. You could feel the fallen angel's presence even in the most ordinary times, when people wanted to learn things that weren't ready for them yet. Time seemed to change its rhythm. The hours felt longer, the tasks took longer, and the way things happened in nature was a little off. The stars, though steady, seemed to twinkle with a hint of caution, as if they were warning of forces that were not in sync with the cosmic dance. But this disruption wasn't complete. The archangels worked non-stop to keep the sacred days intact, fix the solar calendar, and smooth out the flow of days and seasons. Life went on, but it was more complicated. Every action seemed to have more meaning, and time itself seemed like a gift that needed to be treated with care and respect. People learned how to deal with this subtle tension. They learned that being patient, paying attention, and respecting cycles were more important than just learning things. They were able to get in sync with the slow, steady rhythm of the universe by looking at the stars, following the sacred calendar, and listening to the archangels. Even though the teachings of the fallen angels were disruptive, they were a quiet challenge that helped people grow, think, and learn more about how to balance being curious with being careful. The balance between order and subtle chaos became a gentle teacher, reminding people that the world was full of invisible care and that time was valuable and fragile. The interference of the fallen angels also showed how everything is connected. A change in the way stars move in the sky, a mistake in the solar calendar, or a moment of human impatience had an effect on the natural world. The rivers flowed a little differently. The winds changed direction a little, and the soft beat of day and night had a different rhythm. But even through all of that, the angel's presence was a stabilizing force. Uriel's light showed the way to alignment. Michael's protection kept people safe. Raphael healed the earth and its cycles, and Gabriel led people's hearts back to harmony. Even the soft tension of disorder taught me to be more aware and respectful. It was a gentle reminder that both care and mindfulness keep the universe in balance. The world of Ethiopia and the heavens above are more closely connected than people usually think. The actions of the fallen angels made things more complicated, but the quiet, gentle guidance of the archangels kept the flow of time and the cosmic rhythm going. People could feel the care that moved through the world without being seen by watching the stars change, the seasons change, and the patterns of daily life. Every moment had the sound of angels watching over them, a soft reassurance that the divine rhythm went on, slow and steady, like the softest pulse of a heartbeat echoing through the sky and earth. The watchers moved with quiet diligence as the subtle ripples of disruption spread through the cosmic order. Their presence was a calm counterpoint to the gentle chaos caused by the fallen angels. These protectors of time and divine rhythm knew how fragile balance is, so they worked with care, patience, and almost tender attention. The earth below kept slowly turning, the winds whispered through the valleys, and the rivers followed their usual paths. But there was a feeling almost imperceptible that the world was being led back into harmony. People felt a quiet sense of comfort, as if they were making a promise that life would go on with grace and order, even when things went wrong. Uriel, whose wisdom shone like the first light of dawn, moved through the heavens with a calm authority, aligning the stars with soft, deliberate movements. The stars, which had been a little unsure of themselves, now resumed their arcs, moving across the sky in soft lines, as if they were dancing to a familiar tune. It felt like each constellation found its place, and a slow sigh of relief spread throughout the universe. Michael, watchful and steady, kept the lines between holy days and regular days clear, making sure that the months and weeks stayed in perfect order. His presence was calm but strong, like a steadying force that let the calendar's natural rhythm start up again without any problems. Raphael, the archangel who is a gentle healer, came down to earth carefully, smoothing out the small problems in the flow of nature. Fields, rivers, and forests listened to his quiet advice and began to grow together again. Seeds that had been confused by the strange effects of forbidden knowledge began to sprout at the right time. Animals moved in ways that matched the cycles of day and night, and people, who didn't know exactly how the heavens worked, felt a sense of order returning to their surroundings. It was like the whole world let out a sigh of relief, carried on the winds and mixed with the sound of leaves rustling and streams flowing softly, confirming that the watchers were once again in charge of the rhythm of life. Gabriel, the messenger of quiet instruction, whispered to people's hearts, telling them to respect the sacred cycles and to move slowly with the flow of time. His words were not orders, but gentle invitations that made people think and reflect under the night sky. People started to change their behavior in response to these gentle nudges, getting in sync with the restored flow of the seasons and days. The alignment of the sacred calendar and the steady movements of the stars gave people a real sense of peace, that even when things went wrong, the divine order could be kept and life could go on in its measured, graceful way. The watchers didn't use force in the vastness of space. They used careful patience. The fallen angels brought a quiet drama of dissonance, which was met with quiet intervention. The stars' shadows of misalignment moved back into place, Small timing problems with sacred days were fixed, and the cycles of growth, decay, and rest on earth went back to their normal rhythm. This wasn't a sudden restoration, it was a slow one, with careful guidance of energies and forces, like a skilled musician bringing an orchestra that was slightly out of tune back into harmony. The universe slowly and peacefully came back into balance, thanks to each angel's movement, each star's twinkle, and each whispered nudge to human awareness. This cosmic intervention was quiet and subtle, but it was full of emotion. People who felt the return of order had hope in their hearts. There was a sense of struggle that was reflected in the gentle tension that had come before it. And there was a soft drama in the way that forces, both seen and unseen, interacted with each other. The fallen angels were no longer in charge, but they were still there, just out of sight, as a reminder of what happens when curiosity and knowledge are not controlled. But the Watchers' help was full of kindness, not judgment. They worked to bring things back into balance without being mean. They guided not only the stars and the calendar, but also people's spirits toward patience, reflection, and harmony with the rhythms of creation. The movements of the cosmos themselves seemed to respond to this careful care. The heavens' rotation slowed to a familiar speed. The soft glimmer of starlight traced planned and predictable arcs, and the solar calendar once again showed the measured order of 364 days, with each week and month flowing into the next. The holy days came back to life, giving people time to be quiet, think, and be thankful. People felt an instinctive sense of relief and calm when they noticed the small changes in the sky and nature. Time's gentle flow, which had been pushed into a little bit of chaos, came back as a steady, reassuring heartbeat of the universe. Even when the fallen angels were still around, the Watchers made sure that the natural rhythm was never broken. The Archangels gently guided every flicker of shadow in the night sky and every brief pause of a star. Uriel lit the way, Michael steadied it, Raphael healed it, and Gabriel reminded it. Their combined care made a symphony of order that people could feel more than see. It was a feeling of safety and flow that filled every quiet moment, from the soft glow of dawn to the gentle hush of midnight. The world breathed in time again, its cycles in sync with the careful, gentle music of those who watched, but were never seen. This restoration had a deep but subtle emotional impact. People felt a quiet hope that the world could get back on track, even when things went wrong or got in the way. People knew that struggle was a part of life, that small conflicts could happen without breaking the larger order, and that the Watchers' care kept harmony going. Every star, every change in the solar calendar, and every small change in nature reminded me of this quiet watchfulness. People who were watching and taking part in their own lives felt the effects of this intervention in moments of reflection, awe, and gentle connection to the world around them. The night sky over Ethiopia shone with a calm brilliance as the restoration of the heavens and the earth slowly took place. The stars twinkled steadily again, moving in their soft, predictable arcs. The cycles of days, weeks, and months started up again, and people moved in time with the restored rhythm, guided by their instincts and angelic whispers. The gentle drama of disruption gave way to calm, a quiet reminder that divine order could be kept through patience, vigilance, and care. Even when it was tested, the Watchers were always there, gracefully balancing the movements of the heavens, the cycles of time, and the human experience into a smooth, peaceful flow that could be felt in both the sky and the earth. As the first light of dawn began to softly shine over the hills of Ethiopia, the unseen rhythm of the heavens kept moving with quiet accuracy. Angels, who watched over hours and days, moved through time with a calm watchfulness. Their movements were almost unnoticeable, but had a huge impact. They moved through the fabric of the day, with invisible threads of light guiding the flow of moments, and making sure that each hour was in its right place, and each day had the right sound. People didn't know that there were celestial beings above them, but they could sense this order. The sun rose at the right time. Birds sang softly in harmony with the light, and the land itself seemed to breathe in time with the unseen guardians. Uriel, bright and peaceful, lightly touched the first hours of the morning, guiding the flow of time like a brush across a canvas. The clock's ticks didn't happen mechanically. They flowed naturally, like the soft beat of a heart. Michael, who was strong and steady, kept an eye on the boundaries of days to make sure that no hour slipped too early or too late, and that sacred times for work and reflection kept their intended rhythm. Raphael, gentle and healing, fixed the little things that could go wrong as the world got used to the day's rhythms. Gabriel, on the other hand, whispered quiet advice, nudging people to pay attention to the cycles of light and dark. These archangels moved together in perfect time, and each action sent a soft echo through time. As the morning went on, it was easy to picture the angels moving quietly over fields, rivers, and villages. They didn't hurry. There was no harshness or need for them to be there. Instead, they went with the flow of the day, giving each hour their full attention. Every sunrise was exactly right. Every moment of soft morning breeze had a purpose, and the slow rhythm of life in Ethiopia followed this quiet music. Farmers got up early to take care of their crops. Herders used their instincts to lead their flocks, and kids woke up to greet the soft light with awe. The angels' movement through time made a smooth connection between the heavens and everyday life. People could feel this rhythm even if they couldn't see it directly. The angels watched over every little thing that happened each day. The change from hour to hour was smooth and easy, like water flowing over rocks in a quiet stream. As the sun rose higher, the archangels subtly changed the speed of time to keep work and rest, effort and reflection, activity and pause, all in balance. Every hour had a purpose: times to focus, times to gather, and times to be thankful. People didn't know about the divine choreography above, but they could feel the order. Their daily lives were in sync with the sacred rhythm. Their energy followed the gentle rise and fall of the day, and the pulse of life mirrored the careful guidance of those who moved quietly through the unseen spaces of time. Noonday had its own delicate pattern, with the angels softly stepping in and out. The shadows moved slowly. The sun's warmth touched the earth in just the right amount, and the cycles of work and rest were seen in perfect harmony. Uriel's light marked the edges of hours, keeping the day moving steadily, while Michael protected the very nature of time itself, keeping it from being changed by small problems or human impatience. Raphael fixed the small problems with the natural rhythms of the day, paying attention to small changes in growth, movement, and life. Gabriel's whispers guided people's attention, reminding them to stop, think, and move slowly. As time passed, the hours were not visible, but they felt almost real, like the soft pulse of a river that could not be seen flowing steadily through the landscape. As the afternoon went on, life moved in time with the angels' work. The land itself seemed to slow down to match the pace of the gods. Children came back from playing, and workers took a break. People felt a smooth flow of time in the sway of trees, the movement of clouds, and the soft flicker of sunlight on the ground. The celestial guardians moved quietly in the spaces between seconds and minutes, their touch soft but firm. Every hour had a secret guide, a subtle direction that kept human activity in line with the holy cycles above. This alignment made people feel calm and sure, as if they knew that life was going in the right direction. The Ethiopian landscape was quiet at night. The angels, still moving with calm care, started to change the day into night. The light from Uriel's light dimmed, casting a soft glow across the sky and marking the passage of time with a soft glow. Michael made sure that the end of the day happened at the right time, so that the night could begin without any breaks. Raphael made the change easier by guiding the natural world into sleep, and Gabriel whispered to people's hearts, telling them to think about what had happened that day and be thankful for how it had gone. These small movements kept the balance of hours and days and celebrated it. They created a quiet harmony that connected the rhythms of the heavens and the earth. As the night got darker, the guardians of the night took on the hard job of leading hours through the shadows and starlight. The stars twinkled in soft arcs, marking the slow, steady passage of the evening. Time kept going, alive, but not stopping, taking people to sleep and thought. The cycles of daily life were clear in the gentle patterns of activity and rest, movement and pause. Even though they were hidden in the heavenly music, people could feel the rhythm. Even though they couldn't see it, they could tell that each hour was carefully balanced, that unseen hands were guiding the flow of time, and that the cycles of life were closely linked to the divine order above. The angels moved through each hour and each day with care and patience, building an invisible framework that supported human life. Because they paid close attention, the rhythm of dawn and dusk, work and rest, joy and quiet thought all flowed together perfectly. Even when there were small or big problems, the watchers stepped in gently to help time get back on track. The way that hours, days, and celestial guidance worked together made a deep connection between people and the heavens. It made people feel like life was moving in a gentle, purposeful way that encouraged mindfulness, stillness, and quiet appreciation for each moment as it passed. The guardians of hours taught us to be patient, pay attention, and get along with others through the cycles of daily life. People in Ethiopia's hills and villages went about their daily lives without realizing that they were copying the angels' slow movements. Every act of kindness, every moment of silence, and every look at nature showed the gentle guidance of heavenly hands. Time wasn't just a number. It was a living, breathing thing that guardians cared for with love and purpose as they moved silently through it. The link between the heavens and human life was close and lasting, a constant reminder that every day, hour, and moment was guided and held in perfect balance. The seasons in Ethiopia tell a soft story across the sky, the land, and the hearts of its people. Angels' hands guide the story. The archangels watch over each season as it moves like a carefully planned dance, unfolding with purpose and grace. As Uriel sweeps across the sky, casting a warm, golden light that makes seeds stir beneath the soil, spring comes softly, waking the earth up gently. Whispers of growth ride the winds, and rain falls in gentle showers, each drop carefully placed to help the first shoots of life grow. Michael's steady presence keeps the cycles going in the right order, so no bloom comes too early or too late, and life goes on without rushing. Raphael moves through the clouds, balancing the sun and rain, and leading rivers and streams to water the land. You can't see his touch, but you can feel it in the quiet hum of life as shoots reach for the sky and flowers open up to the warmth above. Gabriel, who is kind and observant, encourages people to notice these changes, to respect the sacred timing of planting and sowing, and to see how work and the earth's natural readiness are in sync. The angels' movements are so small that we can't see them, but their effects are huge. The soft patterns they weave across time and space affect the rhythms of crops, the gentle murmur of streams, and the waking of birds and insects. The warmth slowly rises as summer begins. The sun stays in the sky, shining with a steady brightness, and the archangels keep the light and shadow in balance. Uriel's light spreads over the land, making things grow and mature. Crops ripen under his watchful eye. Michael keeps track of the days and weeks, making sure that work, harvest, and rest are in line with the solar and sacred cycles. Raphael takes care of the earth's wealth by making sure that water flows in a way that works with the land's needs and stops drought from breaking the natural rhythm. Gabriel then whispers to people, telling them to think about the gifts of summer, the fruits of their work, the rewards of patience, and the blessings of careful care. The angels move from season to season in a smooth, flowing way, like a dance without tension. The rhythm seems to breathe with the earth itself. Autumn comes like a slow breath, with leaves changing from green to amber and gold in a graceful way. Uriel moves through the sky, brushing the sunlight along treetops and valleys. This shows how beautiful change can be. Michael makes sure that the harvest cycles are finished on time and that the work of people is respected and in line with the flow of nature. Raphael takes care of the slow growth by preparing the soil, guiding rivers to slowly recede, and balancing the land's energy for the coming season of rest. Even in the fall, the fallen angel's influence is still there, but it's not as strong. It gives people small challenges that remind them to pay attention to the rhythms around them. Then comes winter, a time of quiet and thought. The angels move more slowly as they focus on keeping life safe and getting ready for the months to come. Uriel casts a cool silver light over the land, tracing hours and days with calm thought. Michael keeps the sacred calendar in order, making sure that the weeks and months keep going, even when the earth is resting. Raphael whispers through the small changes in temperature and weather, getting seeds, soil, and streams ready for spring. Gabriel's advice tells people to take this break. Think about the cycle that has just ended, and see the quiet wisdom that comes with the changing of the seasons. The sun, moon, and stars all have their own roles to play in this dance of the heavens. The sun tells us when the days are passing, the moon tells us when the tides and night cycles are changing, and the stars give the angels a steady background to move around in. The angels' careful guidance causes each element to interact with the others, creating a smooth blend of heavenly and earthly rhythms. People who are dancing can feel the patterns without really understanding them. For example, the warmth of summer, the golden colors of autumn, the quiet stillness of winter, and the gentle awakening of spring all remind them of their own cycles of work, rest, and reflection. There is a subtle emotional connection, a feeling of comfort and awe, as if life itself is being held in the careful hands of guardians who move with infinite patience and care. The angels' dance of seasons also has emotional undertones that show how people feel gentle highs and lows. Spring brings hope and excitement, the joy of starting over, and the promise of growth. Summer is a time when hard work pays off, and people enjoy plenty of food and drink. In the fall, you can think about and be thankful for things. Be aware of how things change and know when to act. Winter is a time for thinking, waiting, and getting ready. It gives both people and nature a chance to rest and heal. These cycles, which are guided by quiet vigilance, are like the emotional landscapes of life. They connect the rhythm of nature with the rhythm of human hearts. Angel guidance can be seen in even the smallest parts of life. A river glinting in the morning sun, a flock of birds flying in a straight line across the sky, fruit slowly ripening, and rain falling at just the right time. All of these things show the subtle dance that goes along with the divine order. Fallen angels can still have an effect on things, but they can't change the watcher's overall rhythm. Their attempts to interfere create small tensions that teach people to be aware, patient, and aware that every movement, whether in nature or in human action, is part of a bigger dance. People in Ethiopia take part in this sacred dance without even knowing it, thanks to their culture, observation, and tradition. Festivals, agricultural rituals, and daily routines are in sync with the seasons, thanks to the Archangels' unseen hands. Celestial guidance sets the times for everything, from kids playing in sunny fields, to farmers taking care of their crops, to families getting together to work and think. Not only do the physical gifts of nature make life better, but so does the quiet knowledge that every season is planned, cared for, and fits in perfectly with the cycles of time. The seasons change slowly, and each change teaches us about balance, harmony, and the gentle presence of divine care. The angels' dance is not only a way to keep time and nature in order, but it is also a quiet reminder of how everything is connected. Every change in the seasons, from the new growth of spring to the quiet of winter, leaves behind a mark of unseen guidance that adds a sense of wonder and peace to the daily rhythms of human life. As this happens, people feel a deep, instinctive connection to the world. They sense that time, growth, and nature are all held with gentle purpose, and that each season is a step in the watcher's infinite, graceful dance. In the slow, steady rhythm of Ethiopian life, sacred rituals and festivals happen in sync with the cycles of the universe, with angels watching over them. Every ritual has a deep spiritual meaning that shows how God's order is present in both heaven and earth. From the highlands to the valleys, villages and towns wake up to days that feel like sacred timing. This is when communities get ready to honor the cycles of the sun, moon, and seasons. These moments, whether they are marked by dance, song, or prayer, have a quiet energy that brings people's hearts and actions in line with the flow of the stars. The watchers are always there, but you can't see them. They affect the timing and spirit of these practices, making sure that each gesture, chant, and movement fits naturally into the rhythm of life. The air is full of soft, sweet smells of fresh earth, ripening crops, and fragrant herbs during the planting and harvest festivals. As the first light of dawn spreads across the land, families come together in open fields. The light makes the hills' gentle curves, and the morning dew's soft shimmer stand out. Uriel's guiding presence seems to be felt by everyone who plants seeds, walks in ceremonial steps, or looks up at the sky. The angels make sure that the rituals follow the cycles of the sun and rain, so that planting happens when the soil is most ready, and harvest celebrations happen when the earth is at its most plentiful. This alignment gives a subtle sense of comfort, as if human effort, when done in sync with divine timing, adds to the larger rhythm of creation. Michael's watchful influence can be seen in the planning of holy days, when people stop working to honor the heavens with ceremonies. Along with the sounds of wind, water, and animals, there are soft bells, steady drums, and voices singing in harmony. The timing of these rituals is like how angels organize time. No step is rushed, no moment is missed, and every movement has the goal of keeping the balance between human activity and cosmic order. As the rituals happen, people feel a deep connection to the cycles of the heavens and believe that their actions are part of a divine dance that goes beyond what we can see. Raphael's gentle guidance brings care and healing to these festivals. His presence nourishes not only the land and crops, but also the human spirit, reminding everyone to be mindful and kind when they take part in sacred rituals. The shared food, the gentle laughter of children, and the soft murmur of elders' stories all show how divine care works in harmony when families come together for communal meals after a day of ceremonial work. Gabriel whispers to hearts in a quiet way to encourage them to think about what these rituals mean. That every action, no matter how small, is part of a bigger picture, that human life and the cycles of the universe are deeply connected, and that being aware of this connection brings peace and purpose. The spiritual significance of these rituals is heightened by the sensory experience they provide. The soft rustling of clothes as dancers move in slow, rhythmic patterns, the faint smell of incense wafting through sunlit courtyards, the warm glow of ceremonial fires at dusk, and the gentle echo of songs and prayers across stone and field all make it feel like a dream. Even the tiniest things, like the sparkle of water used for purification, the careful placement of offerings, and the quiet laughter of children running through fields between ceremonies, are all done according to the angel's instructions. This makes the connection between heaven and earth feel even stronger. People may not be able to see the angels, but they can feel their presence in the beauty, peace, and accuracy of these holy events. The rhythm of the universe is most clear during seasonal festivals. Celebrations in the spring honor growth and new beginnings. They include processions that follow the land's curves and mark the first flowers of the year. Summer festivals celebrate abundance, which happens when the sun is at its highest point and the harvests are at their best. Autumn rituals recognize thankfulness and reflection, with gatherings that encourage people to think about how quickly time passes and how everything is temporary. Winter ceremonies are quieter, but just as meaningful. They invite rest, reflection, and getting ready for the next cycles. The Archangels make sure that human celebrations fit perfectly with the natural and cosmic rhythms in each case. This creates a sense of order, comfort, and connection that can be felt in the body, mind, and spirit. Kids in particular can feel the rhythm of these rituals without even thinking about it. They get up early with the sun because they hear the soft sound of drums and see the faint glow of ceremonial lights. Their laughter mixes with the low hum of prayer and the gentle movement of dancers, creating a sound and motion tapestry that looks like the angels' dance. Parents and elders carefully guide them, teaching them not only the steps of the ceremonies, but also the deeper wisdom of living in harmony with the cycles of creation. At these times, human life is a living picture of the divine order, with each person being a thread in the larger pattern of cosmic harmony. These sacred practices have an effect on the physical world. The scents of incense, herbs, and earth are carried by soft winds, and the sunlight shines through the leaves in patterns that seem to go along with the movements of dancers and worshippers. Streams murmur next to processional routes, reflecting the sky and stars above. The soft rustle of trees adds to the music of the ceremony. Animals like cows grazing quietly, birds flying overhead, and dogs resting in shaded courtyards all become part of the ritual landscape. It's as if everything in the world is part of this harmonious alignment of human action and celestial guidance. Fallen angels, even though their power is still felt at the edges of perception, can't change the meaning of these holy rituals. The watchers are always there, so their whispers of distraction or impatience don't bother the rituals and keep them going. People don't always know what's going on in the universe around them, but they can feel the comfort, the subtle rhythm, and the sense of purpose that these moments bring. Their hearts, minds, and senses are fully engaged in an experience that goes beyond the ordinary. It makes them think, feel grateful, and feel peaceful, all in sync with the divine flow of time and the careful guidance of angels. These rituals make the close bond between people and their heavenly guardians real, even if they can't be seen. Every offering, song, and carefully planned dance or prayer movement is part of a bigger rhythm. It's a silent way of saying that unseen hands are gently guiding life, time, and the cycles of the universe. Angels make simple rituals into deep experiences of alignment and harmony, reminding people that they are part of a huge, interconnected dance of light, life, and holy time. This invisible music seems to make the air hum, making the atmosphere calm, awe-inspiring, and quiet. It gently carries everyone through each hour, day, and season. As the sun set behind the Ethiopian highlands, the first signs of twilight began to spread across the land, giving valleys, hills, and rivers soft, muted colors. The moon began to rise during this fragile time between day and night. It was a soft silver guardian that lit up the world with a calm, unhurried glow. Its light moved like a soft whisper across the land, following well-known paths through streets, fields, and trees. Angels moved with quiet grace under this peaceful light, their hands guiding the hours that belonged to night. The moon's reflection in calm waters became a mirror of the angels' quiet music, a gentle reminder that even in the dark, there is intention, rhythm, and care. Uriel, who was always shining, drew arcs of silver light that crossed the hills and rivers, softly marking the passage of time at night. The moonlight and shadow moved naturally, not by strict clocks, to keep an eye on each hour of the night. Michael, alert and steady, kept the boundaries of night, making sure that the sacred hours were in perfect harmony with the day that had passed and the day that was still to come. Raphael moved in quiet waves, smoothing out the edges where shadows fell and guiding them to fit in with the natural flow of moonlight. This made it easy for both night creatures and people to get around at night. Gabriel's whispers touched people's hearts in small ways, making them aware of the soft magic that happened when the world was dark. The silver beams of the moon touched every part of the earth as it rose higher. They showed textures that couldn't be seen in sunlight, like the smooth curve of river stones, the delicate pattern of leaves in a gentle breeze, and the soft shimmer of grass after evening dew. Shadows grew and moved, carefully directed so that they didn't make things messy but instead added to the peaceful beauty of the night. The angels' work in the shadows was like a lullaby in motion, making a rhythm that made people want to be still and think. People walking under the moon or resting in open courtyards may feel a quiet sense of peace, as if every sound, movement, and soft flicker of light was part of a sacred, gentle order. The archangels carefully watched over and cared for each phase of the moon, which was very important. A crescent moon lit up the night with a soft, gentle light that guided the early hours of the night. The first quarter, which got bigger and brighter, gave off steady light that made people think and get ready for the next day in peace. The full moon shone silver on the land, making it easy for people and animals to move around clearly during the longest nights. The waning moon finally told us it was time to relax and reflect on our own lives. The angels kept the sacred rhythm going through all the phases, making sure that human activities, sleep, and the natural world all moved in time with the moon's cycles. The way the moonlight and shadows worked together made a dreamlike tapestry, an invisible guide for the world at night. A soft, silvery light lit up fields, forests, and villages, and the shadows of trees, hills, and buildings danced in response to the angels' delicate movements. The smell of flowers, the smell of dew-soaked soil, and the soft hum of nighttime life were all carried by the night winds. Raphael's slow movements kept this sensory symphony in balance, making sure that the elements of the night worked together instead of against each other. People who were walking or resting in this environment unconsciously took in the harmony of these elements and felt a deep calm in the dark. The angels also helped the light and shadow interact in ways that made people feel excited and curious. Shadows could hint at the hidden parts of the world, making things seem mysterious but not scary. Moonlight bounced off of water, glass, or stone, making a soft shimmer that caught the eye and made people think. Even when people stopped to sit outside and look up at the stars, the careful play of moonlight and shadow seemed to tell a quiet story, showing the hidden rhythm of the universe and the hands that kept it going. Gabriel's soft whispers made people more aware of their surroundings. He said that even the most mundane moments of darkness had deep meaning, and that one could feel the presence of divine order just by watching the subtle dance of light and shadow. Things that came out at night also moved this way. Owls flew silently, their wings following the path of the moon. Little mammals moved confidently through the trees and grass, making soft noises. Even insects flew in arcs that matched the moonlight, making soft arcs in the night air. As people walked next to this nighttime life, they were surrounded by the careful arrangement of light and shadow. They didn't know that every flutter, rustle, and shimmer was part of a sacred dance. Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel all worked together, and their combined presence made the night not just a lack of light, but a living, breathing rhythm of beauty, guidance, and calm. The way the moonlight bounced off of still water was especially moving. The lakes, rivers, and ponds reflected the sky, making the moon's soft glow and the careful patterns of shadows look twice as bright. Angels guided these reflections with the same care as they did the light, making a calm, almost hypnotic effect. People who look at the shimmering surface might feel a quiet sense of connection, as if the heavens were gently holding the world in balance, and every ripple and subtle change in reflection was a gentle reminder of the careful, loving attention that controlled time and space. Even the change from night to dawn was guided by angels. The archangels slowly moved the flow of night toward day as the stars began to fade and the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon. Shadows got even softer, the moonlight got dimmer, and the flow of time smoothly changed from rest to activity. People who were waking up felt the gentle push to do so, which was in sync with the natural rhythm of the stars above. Angels worked quietly all night to make sure that every new day started off right, that no moment of darkness was wasted, and that the transition from night to day felt easy, peaceful, and full of quiet wonder. The moonlight and shadows in every part of Ethiopia, from the highest mountains to the quietest villages, sent a message of care, attention, and balance. The angels' work at night reminded people that darkness was never chaotic. Even when things were still and quiet, There was always guidance, rhythm, and purpose. The gentle arcs of light, the soft movement of shadows, the mirrored reflections in water, and the whispers of nighttime life all came together to make a calming tapestry. It was a living example of how the celestial guardians always keep an eye on the flow of time, the cycles of nature, and the sacred harmony that surrounds the earth each night. Enoch, a man who liked to think, often walked under the wide Ethiopian skies, listening to the whispers of the unseen. The Book of Enoch came to life in these quiet moments of thought. It wasn't just words on paper. It was a living guide to the flow of time, the cycles of the heavens, and the patterns that are hidden in the world. The old verses echoed softly, as if the air itself carried their meaning. This made Enoch feel the angels' subtle guidance weaving through the fabric of existence. He read softly, "And the sun and the moon go their appointed courses, following the law that has been set for them." Even though his voice was barely above a whisper, the words seemed to ripple through the hills and rivers, perfectly connecting the earth and the sky. The Book of Enoch talked about times that people can't understand, cosmic order that the watchers kept, and knowledge that was both amazing and humbling. As Enoch ran his fingers over the letters, he felt a deep respect for the angels who kept the holy rhythm of hours, days, and seasons. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel didn't seem like faraway people in his mind. They were more like friends who helped him understand that time was alive, cyclical, and closely linked to both the heavens and human life. He thought about Uriel leaning in close and gently pointing out the sun's path, Raphael following the river's flowing streams that reflected the moonlight at night, and Gabriel whispering to him the lessons that were hidden in shadow and light. The Book of Enoch said that time was a holy thing that wasn't measured by hours or days, but by patterns of order that were filled with divine purpose. One verse said, "The years and the seasons shall not fail, for they are appointed by the Most High." Enoch was amazed by how sure it made him feel. He thought about how the angels, who moved quietly but with great accuracy, made sure that the cycles of planting, harvesting, and resting were in line with the heavens. Every sunrise, every harvest moon, and every light rain showed how well the ancient text had guided people. He felt calm as he thought about these passages, as if the rhythm of time itself was a lullaby that eased human anxiety and worry. Enoch was often in awe and thought about how humans had to live in harmony with these sacred cycles. The book talked about fallen angels who had once messed up the natural order. He knew that their lessons were both a warning and an invitation to be aware. Be careful, because knowledge without wisdom can make you sad, he said quietly, thinking about how hard it is to find the right balance between wanting to know and holding back. The angel's work was both protective and educational. It showed that time and the order of the universe were not rigid or impersonal, but alive, with purpose and care. It was meant to teach people to be patient, pay attention, and respect the flow of creation. Enoch thought about how the rhythm of human life was connected to the patterns of the universe. He saw villagers working in the fields, kids playing in the sun, and old people watching the moon's phases. All of them were following the cycles described in the book. He noticed how angels subtly changed these rhythms. A soft breeze guiding where seeds should go, clouds moving to give just the right amount of shade, and the moonlight lighting the way at night. Even the seemingly normal passage of time took on a sacred meaning, reminding people that every action, no matter how small, could be part of the eternal dance of time directed by divine guardians. The mystical verses weren't just descriptions of heavenly events. They were calls to feel time as a living thing. Enoch often stopped to think about the words. The sun rises and sets. The stars keep watch, and the angels of the Lord move among them with wisdom and care. He imagined archangels moving slowly and carefully across the night sky, guiding constellations, marking months, and making sure that cosmic order stayed in place as he whispered these lines. The interplay of light, shadow, and reflection showed itself in small ways, like the dew sparkling in the morning, the trees gently swaying in the moonlight, and the birds flying back to their nests in a soft, measured way. Every detail echoed the teachings of the book, proving that Enoch's understanding was based on both what he saw and what God told him. Enoch seemed vulnerable as he tried to deal with the huge amount of information he had been given to learn. He often felt small under the vast sky, but he also felt deeply connected to the complex patterns of time. When he was unsure, he would read verses out loud and feel the presence of angels like a warm, safe hug. One passage said, "The cycles shall continue, and the heavens shall not falter, for the Lord's order is eternal." This made him feel better, and he let himself breathe deeply, feeling the weight of eternity settle around him. His reflection was more than just an intellectual exercise. It was a real-life experience where wonder, reverence, and human curiosity mixed with guidance from the heavens. He walked under the stars with the Book of Enoch in his hand and saw the stars themselves joining in the sacred rhythms. He noticed that some constellations seemed to mark the seasons, that planets followed predictable paths, and that comets sometimes whispered their own patterns across the night sky. Angels were in charge of these movements, making sure that each heavenly body did its job, which made a soft, harmonious music of the spheres. The stars became their own teachers, showing Enoch lessons from the book and helping him understand that time is not linear but cyclical, alive, and full of meaning. He felt a deep sense of peace, a respect for the natural and supernatural order, and an understanding that human life was part of a larger, divine rhythm. When he read the Book of Enoch closely, every sunrise, every shadow, and every change in the seasons showed how the watchers had guided him. Every verse he read seemed to have a quiet, steady life force. He realized that the book was more than just a place to store information. It was also a bridge that connected people's minds with the angels' subtle, hidden movements that guided time, nature, and people's hearts. The world seemed to hold its breath under the soft blanket of the Ethiopian night sky, caught between sleep and quiet thought. The moon cast soft pools of silver light over hills, valleys, and the gentle curves of rivers, and the stars twinkled like scattered gems. During these quiet times, angels moved among people with gentle care, their presence being both subtle and deeply felt. They spoke in soft, not loud or intrusive, ways that made people think, calmed them down, and led their hearts to understanding. Their voices were like the sigh of a breeze, touching the soul and hinting at truths and paths that the eyes couldn't see, but the spirit could feel. Uriel, with his bright aura, often hovered close to people who needed clarity or comfort, pushing intuition and insight into the folds of human thought. He didn't give orders. Instead, he gave suggestions. His advice came as soft hints or brief visions that stayed in the mind like a faint echo of a dream. In villages all over the highlands, kids lying on rooftops or near open windows might feel a soft warmth on their cheeks and imagine that something unseen was watching over them. Michael, who was always on guard, kept a balance between intervention and free will. He made sure that people could make choices while still being quietly supported. Raphael's touch was soft, like the way leaves shake in the wind at night. He led people to healing and understanding by telling them to think about their day, notice the patterns in nature, and gently align themselves with the rhythms of creation. His whispers often reached people who were sad or in pain, bringing peace to their minds, calming their fears, and strengthening their spirits. Gabriel, always the messenger, spoke in pictures and feelings instead of words. He planted ideas that grew later and guided thought and action without having to give direct orders. These archangels worked together to make a tapestry of soft communication that moved through the air without being seen, but left marks that changed how people thought. People didn't always understand the whispers of angels, and this tension between guidance and misunderstanding was part of the delicate rhythm of the night. Sometimes a villager would mistake a brief insight for a coincidence or dismiss a vision as imagination. But even these times were part of the bigger picture. As the angels changed things, nudged them again, and let lessons come out slowly, people learned to be patient and think things through. They found that understanding often came in quiet, gradual steps, like the soft change of shadows under the moonlight. This interaction created a subtle emotional tension that made people feel more curious, amazed, and humble, which made the night even more meaningful. It was easy to picture angels moving softly between the rooftops, across fields, and near quiet homes as one walked under the sky full of stars. They moved without making a sound, and people could feel their presence more than see it. They guided hearts, calmed fears, and sparked dreams. As they walked by, shadows grew and changed, and the moonlight seemed to bend toward their soft touch. Every rustle of leaves, every ripple in a pond, and every glimmer of light in the distance showed how well they worked together. People could feel that these movements were part of a plan, an invisible web that connected their lives to the rhythms of time and intention in the heavens, even when they were still. Enoch himself often stopped under the stars with a book in his hand to listen for the angels' soft whispers. He would close his eyes and feel the soft pulse of their guidance, like a gentle current moving through the air around him. He thought that every star was a message, every shadow was a hint, and every flicker of light was a nudge toward understanding during these quiet times. The angels' whispers weren't orders. They were invitations to pay attention, think about things, and act with awareness. They urged people to look at time, the movements of the heavens, and the cycles of life with respect and care, showing the quiet beauty of order that is hidden in the everyday flow of life. When people were scared or unsure, these celestial whispers were always there to comfort them. A farmer who is worried about the rain might feel a strange sense of calm when a soft light touches his path. Or a mother who is caring for a sick child might feel a wave of calm that makes it easier for her to breathe. Angels led people by giving them small signs and feelings that they could sense but not always put into words. These moments, which were short and sweet, connected human weakness with divine care, letting everyone feel like the night was a living space of both mystery and safety. The angels painted their quiet guidance on the starry night sky. The patterns made by the stars told stories about virtue, hard work, and balance in the universe. The moonlight bounced off of hills and water, making soft channels that seemed to point to places where thought or insight was needed. Deliberately changing the length of shadows made a rhythm that people could easily hear and see. It felt like the atmosphere was alive, like the air was full of messages of support, curiosity, and gentle thought. People lying under this sky could picture themselves taking part in a holy conversation, hearing angels' whispers, and feeling the universe's heartbeat beneath their feet. The tension between guidance and misunderstanding was not something to be afraid of. It was a gentle reminder that human life happens within a larger, unseen order. Angels gave people hints, nudges, and soft revelations, but it was up to people to figure out what they meant and do something about them. This interaction encouraged growth, reflection, and patience, showing that understanding comes slowly and that wisdom comes from being aware of things as they happen. Every whisper, every flicker of moonlight, and every shadow movement became a teacher, helping people get in sync with the rhythm of time and the unseen guardians who watched over the night. The viewer is asked to picture themselves under the Ethiopian sky during these calm, starry hours, feeling the gentle presence of angels moving around them. The moon shines softly above, and shadows move in time with hands that can't be seen. The stars twinkle like messages scattered across the sky. There is no rush or sense of urgency. Instead, there is a gentle, all-encompassing feeling that time itself is alive and moving with purpose. The unseen guardians of night are also there, offering guidance, protection, and subtle inspiration. In this space, you can take deep breaths, notice the little things that make the night special, and let your mind wander along with the angels' whispers, finding the peace and beauty that are hidden in the quiet hours. As the year went on in Ethiopia, each month became a soft note in a cosmic melody, with the archangels gently guiding it. It seemed like the heavens were breathing in time with these holy months, and their movements were carefully planned to keep peace on earth. Uriel, glowing with peaceful light, took care of the first few months of the year, making sure that the first flowers of spring bloomed with the rising sun and the rivers slowly thawed. Every morning brought a quiet encouragement, a soft unfolding of light that invited people to wake up with awareness, to see the fragile patterns of growth, and to hear the silent guidance of the heavens above. Michael, who was always on guard, watched over months when the land needed stability and strength. As the crops grew and the sun reached its peak, he moved silently through fields and villages, keeping both workers and nature's rhythm safe. The archangel was never loud or pushy. Instead, he was like a quiet pulse that made people feel supported, even when they weren't aware of it. When farmers planted seeds or took care of animals, they often felt a strange ease in their work, as if time itself was in sync with unseen hands. These months, full of order and care, showed that the holy calendar was not just a record of days, but a living, breathing part of life on earth. Raphael paid extra attention to months that needed healing, thinking, and starting over. On the softest evenings of early summer, his gentle movements brushed over hills and streams, changing the temperature, humidity, and light in small ways. These months made people stop and look for small miracles in the world around them, which helped them heal their bodies and minds. As the long days passed, the children played beneath him, feeling his care in a way that was almost sacred. Their laughter echoed through meadows that were bathed in a soft glow. The gentle alignment of days and nights, months and seasons, let life grow in a way that seemed easy but was carefully kept by celestial hands. Gabriel listened to the months that needed reflection, decision, and subtle preparation, with whispers of vision and insight. As fall came and the weather got cooler, he moved among people in ways that were almost invisible, giving them advice through dreams, intuition, and sudden realizations. When villagers were watching the harvest or getting ready for winter, they might have felt a brief moment of clarity that gave them the strength to anticipate needs and respond with grace. The angels never moved in a chaotic way. Each act of guidance was like a note in a melody, perfectly placed to keep a rhythm that people could feel but not fully understand. The months turned into a living map of what I learned, showing me how to be patient, watchful, and gentle in response to the cycles of the universe. The months were different from each other because of the way the light from the stars, the guidance from angels, and the reactions of people on Earth came together. The sun and moon also did their part by changing the light, temperature, and reflection in small ways to show the passing of time. The moonlight that lit up the nights changed with the phases, and the shadows that it cast moved in time with the Archangel's care. The stars in the dark velvet sky above me looked like they were dancing slowly, and their positions reminded me of lessons in patience, consistency, and quiet observation. People walking under this bright canvas felt calm, as if the months were not a measure of duty or obligation, but an invitation to join in a sacred, living rhythm. During the month that was the middle of the year, when light was at its brightest and life was at its most vibrant, the Archangel's presence became almost tangible. Every sunrise, sunset, and moving shadow had a purpose. In the early mornings, Uriel's light grew stronger, bathing fields and hills in a soft glow. Michael's protective presence seemed to fill the air, giving workers and travelers alike the confidence to move around. Raphael's gentle touch calmed the earth and the soul, and Gabriel's whispers gave people ideas that brought their desires in line with heavenly guidance. Even the smallest things, like the curve of a river, the sway of branches in the wind, and the shimmer of sunlight on dew, were all in tune with each other, showing that the months were living instruments in a larger cosmic symphony. The sacred calendar, which is kept in the Book of Enoch and followed in Ethiopian culture, helped people notice these rhythms with care and respect. There were certain months when festivals, rituals, and quiet days of reflection happened. This showed that the movements of the heavens were reflected in human experience. Each ritual turned into a celebration of life on earth and the unseen hands that guided it, paying tribute to the Archangel's protection of time and nature. Even when there was no ceremony, the months felt sacred to people, as if each day had been touched by a quiet, loving hand from above. As the year came to an end, the Archangel's focus changed slightly. They helped people move on and got the world ready for rest, reflection, and renewal. As Uriel's light and Raphael's touch guided them, the leaves changed color and fell softly. The shadows grew longer and softer, which made people think. Michael made sure that the land stayed stable, even though the nights got longer and the temperatures dropped. Gabriel's whispers became more thoughtful, encouraging people to think about what they had learned and get ready for the new beginnings that come around again and again. Each month was different, but they all flowed into the next one without a hitch. This gave a sense of continuity and comfort that time itself was alive and well cared for. People who lived in harmony with these holy months found themselves responding to the Archangel's rhythm without even thinking about it. Work, rest, play, and thinking all fit together in a natural way, with each activity finding its place in the bigger picture. The angels could be felt even in the quietest moments, like watching a sunset, feeling the first frost of winter, or listening to the soft trickle of a mountain stream. They were like a soft pulse that reminded the heart that nothing was ever really separate from the celestial order. The months weren't just numbers or names. They were calls to pay attention, think, and join in the sacred dance of time that surrounded the Ethiopian landscape. From these observations, one could picture being under the starry sky and feeling the months pass by like a living current flowing through the world. Every little change in the light, every sway of the trees, and every rhythmic breath of nature showed that the archangels were watching over us. Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel moved quietly through the heavens, making sure that each month had its own lesson, rhythm, and holy meaning. In turn, people could tune into these gentle currents, bringing their hearts and minds in line with the timeless, dreamy rhythm of cosmic order that unfolded slowly, month by month. The equinoxes came like quiet milestones in the Ethiopian sky. They were times when the balance of day and night became almost real, and the world seemed to stop in a gentle balance. During these times, it felt like angels were very close, as if their careful attention was in every breeze, every dewdrop that shone in the sun, and every shadow that stretched across hills and valleys. The rhythm of the universe, which is usually quiet and steady, became more obvious, beating in time with the gentle rise and fall of human activity. Uriel, bright and calm, led the light, making sure that the day didn't stay too long or leave too soon. Michael, watchful but not in the way, kept things stable, protecting this sacred harmony from even the smallest disturbance that could throw it off balance. Raphael walked among the people with great care, as if to remind them to stop and think about the delicate balance that was happening in the sky above. His touch was there, but not seen, like a soft current, moving through fields, villages, and homes. Gabriel, always the messenger, whispered in intuitive impressions, planting gentle awareness of these holy days in the hearts of those who were willing to listen. When villagers wake up to the soft glow of dawn, they might feel a little push in their steps, or a quiet reminder that the world is in order and that their daily work is part of a bigger, more harmonious rhythm. Even people who didn't know anything about celestial mechanics could feel how perfectly balanced the day was as it slowly and carefully unfolded. The equinoxes, which have the same amount of light and darkness, became symbols of cosmic order. Angels expertly guided the sun and moon so that neither one outshone the other. They also made sure that shadows moved in ways that showed how beautiful balance can be. As the day slowly turned into night, the stars came out and twinkled, as if to show that the angels were watching over them. The gentle change from day to night was almost hypnotic, putting the viewer in a calm state of mind where time felt both big and small, and where the sacredness of each moment could be quietly appreciated. The equinoxes were sacred days, when the cycles of time, human activity, and celestial influence all came together perfectly. At these times of year, festivals, rituals, and reflective practices all came together, thanks to the angels' invisible hands. When villagers made offerings or met in public places, they often felt a strange sense of peace and purpose. Every movement and every preparation became part of a bigger rhythm that echoed the harmony of the heavens. The soft laughter of children playing in the afternoon sun added to this balance, as if human life itself was a reflection of how carefully the celestial order was put together. During these holy days, the tension between light and dark was quiet but strong, and it was more gentle than jarring. The angels' work made sure that changes went smoothly, that neither day nor night was too strong, and that every human action fit into the natural and cosmic order. As Uriel's light faded, It cast long, warm shadows on the landscape that made people think. People could feel Michael's presence in the stillness of the air, the solid ground beneath their feet, and the quiet protection of animals, big and small. Raphael's influence helped people become more aware of the cycles of their lives in relation to the seasons and time as a whole. Gabriel's whispers told a quiet story of reflection and foresight, gently suggesting ideas without overwhelming the mind. The equinoxes and holy days taught lessons to those who were willing to listen. They showed how important it is to have balance, both in the universe and in people's hearts and actions. Day and night needed each other, and so did times of work and rest, of talking and being quiet, and of giving and getting. The angels' careful guidance taught people that to be in harmony, they needed to be aware of, patient with, and trust the rhythms that were always there, but too subtle to control. When you looked at the equinox, you could feel the energy flowing across the land, the gentle nudges of celestial guardians, and the fact that the world was always moving with quiet purpose, even when it seemed still. As night fell, the stars slowly moved across the sky, making constellations that looked like the patterns described in old books. Each point of light was a reminder that things were still in order, and that sacred days were not just marked on human calendars, but also by the ongoing movements of cosmic forces under the watchful eye of angels. The moonlight washed over the hills and valleys, bending softly around lakes and rivers. The reflections whispered about cycles, changes, and continuity. People walking under this bright canopy often felt a peaceful connection to time itself, as if every step, breath, and thought were in sync with a rhythm that was much bigger than they were. During these days, angels took care of even the smallest things. A brief flash of sunlight through the branches of a tree could mean that the wind or temperature is changing slightly, which could help farmers decide when to plant or care for their crops. A cool breeze in the evening might bring comfort and calm the minds of people who are worried or have a lot on their minds. The night sky, full of stars, became a canvas for subtle lessons. The constellations showed people when to pray. The moon's phases reminded them of cyclical patterns, and the soft changes in light and shadow made a visual language of balance and timing. These natural events, along with guidance from angels, made a sensory experience that made people more aware, reflective, and quietly amazed. People who lived in harmony with these holy days found a rhythm that worked for both their bodies and their spirits. Work and rest found their own rhythm. Celebrations and rituals happened in harmony with the cycles of the universe, and moments of reflection were gently supported by the ongoing work of angels. Even if people weren't aware of it, the passing of equinoxes and holy days affected their hearts and minds. It reminded everyone who saw them that the universe was full of purpose and care. This understanding grew stronger with each experience, as the same balance came back every year and every day was a little different, but still part of the eternal cycle that was kept going by unseen hands. The world felt both big and small under the night sky that followed each equinox. Angels moved like soft currents that you couldn't see but could feel deeply. They kept peace between heaven and earth. They were there on purpose and with care, changing both the physical and spiritual worlds without disturbing the peace of night. People who took a moment to look, even if they were alone in their homes or fields, could feel a subtle harmony in every breeze, shadow, and star. The sacred days and equinoxes were times to feel, notice, and trust the quiet rhythms that kept life going. They gave us hope that even as time went on, there was balance, guidance, and gentle care. The rhythm of the heavens was not far away or separate from human life. It moved with the heartbeat of every Ethiopian village, field, and quiet home. Angels controlled the flow of time and light, but they also cared about the small things in people's lives, like their feelings, choices, and inner battles. Uriel's soft light in the morning often came at times when people needed clarity, helping them see solutions to problems that had seemed impossible in the dark. A farmer thinking about when to plant seeds, a mother thinking about how to comfort her child, or a scholar thinking about a question of faith. All of them were gently supported by the rhythms that angels set up with quiet care. Michael's constant presence gave people comfort when things got tough, reminding them how important it is to be brave and keep going. His effect was subtle, showing up as times of inner peace, a sudden clarity of thought, or a feeling of safety that gave people the confidence to act, even when the world seemed uncertain. He didn't force people to do things or ask for things. Instead, he made it possible for them to feel their own strength and wisdom and make choices that fit with the larger divine rhythm that flowed through both the sky and the earth. People often didn't know about this guidance, but they were still working with celestial order, which brought a subtle grace to their lives. Raphael moved through emotional landscapes like a whisper, taking care of people's hearts with great care. When he was sad or scared, his gentle presence made things feel lighter, as if the weight of the burdens could be carried without breaking down. He guided him through experiences, which often came in the form of dreams, sudden flashes of inspiration, or the unexpected kindness of someone else. These times made people think and taught them that being aware of their feelings and understanding their spirituality were closely linked. Life's problems weren't just problems. They were chances to get in touch with the unseen rhythms that guided every heartbeat and breath. Gabriel's role was quieter, but still very important. He added insight and intuition to times of deep thought, planting seeds of understanding that could grow into deep awareness. A teacher getting ready for a lesson, a poet picking words for a verse, or a child noticing how sunlight danced on leaves might feel this touch. It seemed like the world itself was giving people hints, reflections, and gentle suggestions that helped them make choices that were in line with both moral and cosmic order. Angels taught people to be more aware, patient, and mindful through these small actions, making sure that what people did was in line with the bigger picture of life. The link between people and divine rhythm was strongest in the quiet times of day, like early mornings, twilight, and the stillness of night. People often stopped during these hours, either on purpose or by accident, to notice the soft changes in their surroundings, like the cool breeze coming in through an open window, the sound of leaves whispering, or the shadows moving across the ground. During these times, it was easiest to feel the influence of angels, which could be a feeling of calm, intuition, or a sudden sense of clarity. People learned that time was both constant and cyclical, but it was also very personal, moving along with thoughts, feelings, and spiritual awareness. The rhythms of the earth, sky, and spirit came together to make a living conversation between human experience and divine orchestration. Angels taught moral and spiritual lessons through everyday actions. A child sharing with a friend, a farmer patiently tending to crops, or a family coming together to honor a ritual could all feel that their intentions were in line with the order of the universe. The angels' work showed that even small choices had an impact on both personal experience and the larger picture of life. People started to notice that when they were kind, thought about things, or kept going, the light, season, or time would change at the same time. These were not random events. They were echoes of a careful plan that wove moral and spiritual principles into everyday life. This rhythm even included times of doubt or conflict. Angels worked behind the scenes to give people subtle guidance when neighbors didn't understand each other or when fear and anger clouded their judgment. This helped people deal with problems with a softening of heart. Uriel's light showed new ways of looking at things. Michael's steadiness gave strength. Raphael's healing presence calmed emotional storms. And Gabriel's soft whispers made people think. The way these things worked together showed that the problems in life were never random. They were chances to grow, think about right and wrong, and get in tune with the divine rhythm that ruled everything. The divine rhythm also included the cycles of work and rest. As the seasons changed with the help of angels, so did the need for people to do things, think about things, and start over again. People naturally got up with the first light, worked hard, rested when the sun went down, and thought about things under the stars. Celestial guidance helped people connect with something bigger than themselves, even when they were doing everyday things. Being thankful, amazed, and deep in thought became natural ways to show that you were in sync with the rhythm that angels nurtured. It would be easy to draw modern parallels, as viewers might picture themselves getting the same kind of advice in their own lives. The quiet intuition that helps you make a kind choice, the calm sense of timing when you have to make a big decision, or the inner peace you feel when you're stressed out, could all be seen as echoes of the same divine rhythm that guided ancient Ethiopia. The angelic influence went beyond time and space, bringing people together across generations through lessons of awareness, patience, and moral sensitivity. By tuning into this rhythm, people could move through life with a calm confidence, feeling that unseen forces were quietly keeping things in order in both the universe and their own minds. As people went about their lives, the angelic guidance fit perfectly with the patterns of nature and the universe. The cycles of the moon, the rising and setting of the sun, and the changing of the seasons and months all became a living backdrop for moral, spiritual, and emotional growth. People were taking part in a carefully maintained flow, even if they weren't aware of it. Their choices and thoughts were in tune with the soft whispers of angels. In moments of stillness, thoughtfulness, and connection with the world around them, the heart beat in time with the heavens. The soft blending of human life with divine rhythm gave people a sense of purpose and belonging. Every action, whether it was taking care of a garden or family, could be seen as part of a bigger pattern, a thread in a tapestry that stretched across time and space. Most people couldn't see the angels, but they were there, and they helped people become aware of this connection. They gave people hope that even when things were hard, they were still going according to a gentle, purposeful rhythm. People learned to live in harmony with the natural world and the unseen guardians who controlled time, seasons, and sacred cycles by noticing and responding to this rhythm. Even when the Ethiopian sky was at its most peaceful, small changes sometimes broke the delicate balance, like whispers of unease that hinted at a bigger tension that people couldn't see. Fallen angels, who had once been part of the divine assembly, now moved in ways that upset the carefully kept order. They never acted violently, but they did quietly and almost imperceptibly move knowledge and secrets into the hands of people who didn't fully understand them. It was as if little shakes in the fabric of time gently changed the way things usually went. People who were used to natural cycles but didn't know what was causing these changes started to notice small changes in their routines and felt like something had changed in the world. Uriel's bright presence, which was usually calm and reassuring, became even more focused during these times. He moved with careful precision, trying to balance out disruptions without getting in the way of the natural flow. Every flicker of light and every soft shadow on the ground was a quiet effort to bring things back into balance. People often felt this as a strange awareness, a mix of curiosity and caution, a realization that their surroundings were full of influences that went beyond what they could see or hear. Kids playing in meadows might suddenly stop, sensing a change they couldn't put their finger on. Older people who were doing rituals or working in the fields noticed that the days seemed to be just a little different, as if the winds were carrying new impressions that hinted at unseen forces at work. Michael's watchfulness was very important during these times. His presence wasn't strong, but it was protective, like a shield against the subtle chaos caused by the fallen angels. People who had always relied on the familiar rhythm of life began to question their routines, choices, and even their relationships. They felt a strange, unsettling doubt that was still there. It was a quiet tension, a gentle friction that taught people how to be strong and aware. Farmers might get the timing of planting or harvesting wrong, but because of Michael's influence, the results were never disastrous. This let people learn and adapt without feeling hopeless. This fragile balance between chaos and order showed that even mistakes and confusion could be part of a larger, gentle lesson from God. Raphael's touch, as gentle as ever, helped calm the human heart during these small problems. Usually, emotions flowed with the rhythms of the universe and the earth, but sometimes they felt stretched or out of place. Fear, curiosity, and wonder all mixed together, making a complicated picture of what was going on inside. Raphael moved through these layers without being seen, giving people hope that they could understand and heal. Dreams became a way for people to get information, and small visions gave them direction so they could make sense of the strange changes happening around them. Even when the consequences of forbidden knowledge led to small errors or misunderstandings, people could feel the invisible presence of care, a quiet prompt that made them think instead of panic. During these times, Gabriel's whispers were especially important. The fallen angel's influence often showed up as unexpected discoveries, questions, or urges that could lead people away from harmony if they weren't understood. Gabriel gave hints and gut feelings that helped people make choices that were more balanced. These were not direct orders, but rather quiet nudges that made people think. A teacher, a mother, or a traveler might suddenly see things clearly when they are unsure. This is a gentle reminder that the way forward requires being aware, thinking things through, and being patient. It was as if the world, with its cosmic and human layers intertwined, was quietly teaching lessons about being responsible, being aware, and what happens when you get information too soon or without help. People acted in ways that showed how they were feeling and how the universe was changing in small ways. Some people felt awe and curiosity, as if they could see hidden patterns and mysteries in everyday life. Some people were confused or a little frustrated because things didn't go exactly as planned, but they were all part of a bigger story, one in which the conflict between forbidden knowledge and divine order became a quiet teacher. People started to realize how important timing was. They learned that some insights had to wait for the right time, and that action, patience, reflection, and respect for rhythm were all equally important. Even mistakes turned into soft lessons, thanks to angelic guidance and the way time naturally moves forward. The tension wasn't always dramatic. It was more of a soft, underlying current that added to the richness of the experience. People walking through villages, fields, and homes could feel that life was full of small problems, that they needed to think about their choices, and that even small things were affected by the presence of celestial guardians. When a river's flow changed suddenly, when a harvest came a little earlier or later than usual, or when a child had a brief premonition, these were reminders of how fragile the balance is between order and chaos, knowledge and restraint. The fallen angels didn't want to destroy anything. They just wanted to challenge it and show how it could be disrupted. The archangels, on the other hand, worked hard to make sure that every ripple in time brought about lessons instead of disasters. Even things that happened in nature showed this tension. Under the moonlight, shadows moved in a slightly different way, and the wind carried whispers through trees that seemed to be alive. Starlight also flickered with a slight irregularity from time to time. People who were in tune with these patterns felt both awe and a quiet sense of unease, as if they knew that the world was full of forces they couldn't understand. But the presence of angels made sure that these influences were balanced, that people could learn and adapt without fear, and that every challenge became part of a bigger story of growth, reflection, and getting in tune with God's rhythm. People could feel the careful work of Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel as they moved to fix the small problems caused by those who had strayed from divine order when they were alone at night. The fallen angel's presence reminded people that knowledge without direction could lead to mild chaos, and that harmony required being in sync with rhythm and awareness. Every star, shadow, and gust of wind taught me something soft about being patient, being responsible, and how everything is connected. Even when people made mistakes, the angel's guidance made sure that they could get back to balance, which showed the quiet but strong presence of moral and cosmic order. The combination of forbidden knowledge and cosmic rhythm created a story with many layers that made people more aware and in touch with their feelings. People started to realize that every decision, every idea, and every passing thought was part of a bigger picture, a gentle dance that was kept in place by heavenly hands. The disturbances caused by the fallen angels made people think instead of being afraid. They changed how people thought and understood in ways that were subtle, deep, and closely tied to the ongoing rhythm of life. Every day, every cycle, and every holy moment was a small meditation on how to find the right balance between curiosity and wisdom, freedom and guidance, and chaos and harmony. In this quiet tension, people learned that life was not just a series of predictable events, but a story that was shaped by both divine protectors and the unpredictable actions of those who had once known the light but chose to challenge it. These experiences had a soft emotional effect that made a rich environment for learning, thinking, and growing. They encouraged people to live their lives with thoughtfulness and respect for the unseen forces that kept the universe in order. The first pale light of dawn gently touched the hills and valleys of Ethiopia. The angel's presence became a little clearer, guiding people to align with the divine rhythm that quietly flowed through the universe. Uriel moved through the early mist, his soft, glowing light making paths that had seemed unclear in the dark of night. Every ray of sunlight that hit the ground had his power, helping people think clearly and make decisions, and subtly pushing them to walk with purpose and awareness. The way light and shadow played off of each other seemed almost alive, like a gentle dance directed by celestial hands. It gave me comfort that balance was always within reach, even when life felt shaky or uncertain. Michael stayed strong and alert to make sure that the foundations of daily life stayed stable, even though the effects of fallen angels were still felt in small ways. His presence was a quiet, grounding force that made people feel safe, helped them understand when to act, and gently pushed them to trust the natural order of things. People in the village might not have realized he was there while they were doing their morning chores, like getting ready for the day, taking care of animals, or opening market stalls. But they felt calm and focused, which helped them do things that were in line with both earthly and heavenly cycles. This invisible protection kept things from getting out of hand and kept a gentle harmony that was a natural part of being human. Raphael moved with an almost invisible grace, taking care of people's hearts and spirits as the sun rose. His touch was gentle, like when a farmer stopped to watch the morning sun glinting on a field full of dew, or when a mother took a deep breath of the soft, fragrant air before starting her day. During these times, emotions were subtly brought back in line with the natural and divine rhythm. This helped people face problems with patience, empathy, and clarity. The fallen angels' attempts to mislead or confuse were countered not with force but with gentle illumination of understanding, reminding humans that wisdom was often found in stillness, observation, and trust in the flow of life. Gabriel's influence wove through the soft light of dawn like a delicate thread, bringing insight and intuition to moments that could otherwise feel ordinary or mundane. Messages arrived not as words spoken aloud, but as impressions, a sudden clarity in thought, or a gentle urge toward compassionate action. A child helping a sibling, a teacher guiding a student, or a traveler navigating a path through the hills might sense a subtle encouragement in their choices, a quiet hint that their actions were part of a larger tapestry of order maintained by unseen guardians. These angelic interventions were never intrusive. They were whispers in harmony with the rhythms of life, guiding humans without breaking the gentle cadence of their experience. The interplay of light, dawn, and shadows became a tangible language, a visual symphony that communicated the presence of divine care. As the sun gradually rose, shadows shifted with measured precision, stretching across fields, rocks, and rooftops in a slow, deliberate dance. Humans often noticed these patterns unconsciously, feeling a sense of timing and proportion that mirrored the careful orchestration above. Even the smallest details, a ray of sunlight catching a river's surface, the way morning fog softened the contours of a hill, the glimmering reflection of dew on leaves were infused with guidance, a subtle reminder that the universe and human life were interwoven in a delicate, purposeful rhythm. During these hours, the lessons of cosmic alignment became experiential rather than abstract. A miscalculated action, a fleeting thought of doubt, or a sudden emotional fluctuation was gently tempered by the soft presence of angels. Uriel's illumination highlighted alternative perspectives. Michael's steadfastness provided grounding. Raphael's tenderness healed subtle disturbances of emotion, and Gabriel's whispers suggested reflection before action. Each intervention encouraged humans to reconnect with the natural order, cultivating awareness and mindfulness without urgency or pressure. The rhythm of life was not imposed, but revealed, allowing humans to experience both the serenity and the responsibility inherent in alignment with divine timing. Even the world of nature responded to angelic guidance during these early hours. The wind sent messages of calm and focus, and the leaves rustled in a way that showed how carefully the heavens cared for them. Birds sang as the sun rose, and their songs seemed to fit with the angels' movements that could not be seen. Their calls made the world feel more ordered and balanced. The ripples in the streams caught the light in ways that made it look like patterns and rhythms, which helped people become more aware of time and place. Natural and divine guidance worked together in a gentle way to create a living meditation, an immersive experience in which every detail, no matter how small, helped to restore balance in a quiet way. People who were even a little bit aware of these subtle cues started to notice that times of clarity, calm, and emotional balance didn't happen by chance very often. Their inner rhythms found resonance with the external cycles of light, shadow, and natural movement, as though the angels themselves were tuning both body and spirit to the larger cosmic order. Small decisions, a choice to speak kindly, to help another, to pause and reflect, became markers of alignment. Experiences in which divine intervention was perceptible not as spectacle, but as a deep, calm presence that guided rather than commanded. These interactions demonstrated that learning to live in rhythm with time and celestial influence was a practice as gentle as it was profound. As dawn gave way to the full light of morning, humans experienced the cumulative effects of angelic intervention. The subtle realignment of emotion, intuition, and action brought an ease to daily life, a quiet harmony that made even routine tasks feel purposeful. Work became infused with patience and attentiveness. Relationships carried more empathy and understanding. Contemplation offered clarity and foresight. The angel's care was visible in the gentle unfolding of these moments, a quiet assurance that despite subtle disruptions introduced by those who had strayed from order, balance could always be restored through attentiveness, reflection, and the soft guidance of celestial guardians. Through the soft illumination of morning, humans sensed the ongoing partnership between heaven and earth. The light of dawn was not merely a physical phenomenon. It was a manifestation of care, a bridge between cosmic order and human experience. Shadows and sunlight wove together, a visual language of rhythm, balance, and instruction, reminding humans that every moment held an opportunity to realign with divine principles. By observing, feeling, and participating in this rhythm, humans became active participants in the ongoing maintenance of harmony, guided gently yet consistently by the presence of angels who watched over time, emotion, and the unfolding of life with tender diligence. The sacred feast days in Ethiopia unfolded like gentle echoes of the heavens, moments when human life intersected seamlessly with the cosmic rhythm maintained by angels. Each festival, each ritual, was a careful alignment of time, space, and spiritual intention, designed to honor not only the cycles of nature, but the delicate harmony of the divine order. Villagers rose before dawn, the soft murmur of morning prayers blending with the faint rustle of leaves and the distant calls of birds greeting the new light. The aroma of spiced breads baking in earthen ovens drifted through homes and courtyards, mingling with the subtle scent of incense that seemed to rise in tandem with invisible celestial currents. Every movement was slow and purposeful, like the sacred rhythm that guided the earth and its people. As preparations for the feast progressed, the influence of Uriel became perceptible in the gentle illumination of each space. Sunlight streamed through small openings in homes and temples, falling in patterns that seemed intentional, as if highlighting the most meaningful corners for reflection, gratitude, and offering. The light encouraged attentiveness, a soft focus that helped humans move with mindfulness, from arranging offerings on altars to preparing ceremonial garments. The warmth of dawn touched faces and hands, creating a subtle harmony between inner awareness and outer action, a quiet communication between the human heart and the cosmic order upheld by angelic guardians. Michael's presence kept the celebrations going without any problems. Even when small problems came up, like a plate that wasn't stacked properly, an incense burner that was in the wrong place, or a brief break in the ritual sequence, His calm guidance let people move forward with grace. The feast's rhythm wasn't fast. It was slow and steady, like the careful cycles of the sun, moon, and stars above. The villagers moved together in a way that showed they were all on the same page. Their steps, gestures, and words were all in sync with each other and with the subtle flow of divine timing. Laughter and conversation floated through the air, soft and calm, like soft ripples on a lake. They brought warmth and connection without breaking the stillness that surrounded the holy day. Raphael's touch could be felt in the more subtle parts of the feast, like the taste of the shared meals, the soft feel of the woven cloth, and the faint melodies of old songs that went along with the prayers. Every sensory detail became a way for people to connect with their emotions and spirits, letting them feel cared for, healed, and calm as part of the ritual. The sweetness of honey on bread, the faint crunch of toasted grains, and the lingering smell of herbs and spices were all gentle reminders that life was nourished in both physical and spiritual ways. These sensory experiences created a layered awareness, a sense that everything at the feast was part of a larger cosmic alignment. This was like the care of angels who made sure that human experience was in sync with sacred time. Gabriel's effect was most clear during the quiet times between activities, when people stopped to think about what their actions and gifts meant. A parent lighting a candle, a child putting a flower on an altar, or a teacher leading a group in prayer might all feel a small push to think more deeply. These whispers of insight were never pushy or urgent. They were gentle suggestions that the choices we make about how we pay attention, how we devote ourselves, and how we interact with others have effects that last longer than the moment. People began to realize that the feast was more than just a party. It was an ongoing conversation with the divine rhythm, a quiet way of getting in line with the forces that keep order and harmony in the universe and in human life. The slow, careful movements of the people were like the cycles of the celestial order. People prayed in harmony, with their hands folded, steps measured, offerings carefully arranged, and voices raised. This careful pacing was like the way months and seasons change. The feast days weren't random. They were based on the rhythms of the sun, moon, and seasons, and they marked the equinoxes, solstices, and sacred months in a way that kept with cosmic patterns. By being present and paying attention, people helped keep this balance. Their collective awareness made the angelic guidance that quietly brought heaven and earth into harmony even stronger. Sounds also became a way to get things in line. The soft rhythm of drums, the gentle strumming of lyres, and the quiet singing of voices mixed with natural sounds like birds singing, water flowing, and the wind blowing through the trees to make a rich soundscape. Every note and beat was carefully modulated, never jarring, and it brought people into a calm, meditative state that made them more aware of both the sacred moment and the cosmic order that was going on behind the scenes. Even soft, planned laughter became part of this rhythm, echoing the harmony that angels kept. The combination of sound with touch, taste, and sight gave a full immersion into how human actions fit with the will of the heavens. The communal aspect of the feast helped people learn moral and emotional lessons. Elders taught the young with care, telling stories that connected old wisdom to new rituals. Neighbors worked together to get ready, cook, and decorate. Even though each interaction was simple, it had a lot of meaning in the bigger picture of alignment. This shows how people, nature, and angels are all connected by a divine rhythm. The care with which each gesture was made, the attention to detail in every preparation, and the shared joy of participation all taught us how to be more mindful responsible, and live in harmony. Even small mistakes or changes were gently absorbed into the rhythm, teaching lessons without breaking the flow. The angels made small changes to the flow to keep things balanced. During times of reflection, participants could feel that their own cycles were in sync with the cycles of the universe. Shadows moved in time with the sun as it slowly moved across the sky, just like Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel had planned. The warmth of the sun, the smell of incense, the rhythm of the song, and the feel of the ceremonial cloth all added to the feeling of being part of a bigger, more harmonious order. The sacred feasts were not just times to remember. They were places where heaven and earth met, and where people could feel the care of angels and help keep the divine rhythm going through devotion, awareness, and gentle, purposeful action. The effects of the feast lasted even after the day went on and the rituals were over. A quiet sense of alignment stayed in the hearts and minds of everyone who took part. It was a connection to the cosmic order that subtly affected how people interacted, made decisions, and felt. By fully participating in these sacred moments, people not only honored tradition, but also got in touch with the cycles of time, the flow of seasons, and the moral and spiritual guidance of the angels. Every taste, sound, and gesture became a part of a sacred tapestry that reminded me that even though life is short, it can still be part of the universe's eternal rhythm. In Ethiopia, as in the heavens, time was not a straight line of moments, but a gentle, eternal flow, like a river winding through both human and cosmic experience. Angels guided the river silently but on purpose, making sure that everything was in harmony at every bend. One could picture this river as a glowing stream, with soft colors that changed with the time of day and night, merging the past, present, and future into a smooth, peaceful flow. Uriel's radiant light illuminated the currents, casting soft reflections upon the water, guiding humans to move in harmony with the flow rather than against it. Those who paused along the riverbanks, even briefly, could feel the subtle rhythm of life itself, a slow heartbeat echoing through the cosmos, calming both mind and spirit. Michael's influence was like the slow, steady shaping of the river's course. When problems arose, fallen branches of confusion or ripples of doubt caused by unseen forces, the Archangel's presence made sure that the water went back to its natural, calm path. People, whether they knew it or not, felt the stability in their daily lives and trusted that hard times were only temporary and part of a larger rhythm. The river of time, though sometimes encountering minor turbulence, never lost its graceful momentum, flowing with a quiet assurance that even disruptions could be absorbed, harmonized, and transformed into lessons of patience and understanding. Raphael moved along the river in ways that were both gentle and complicated. He touched the waters with hands that couldn't be seen, smoothing out currents where emotions had gotten out of control, and calming places where people's anxiety or worry threatened to disrupt the flow. Moments of hesitation, indecision, or fleeting fear were gently carried downstream, integrated into the current of experience rather than stagnating or causing friction. People who thought about their past choices or future options often felt a strange sense of calm, as if a calming presence had helped them see things clearly and accept them. It was not instruction nor command, but a gentle shaping of awareness, allowing the natural order of events to unfold with grace. The soft breezes that blew across the river carried Gabriel's whispers, which gave people who stopped to listen subtle advice and intuitive insight. A traveler walking along the banks, a farmer thinking about the work he has to do that day, or a child watching the sunlight dance on the rippling water could all feel the quiet nudges of inspiration, small revelations that encourage them to go with the flow of time. These moments were short but deep, reminders that even the smallest choices and actions were part of the bigger picture of life. In this sense, time wasn't just something you could see on a clock or calendar. You could feel it, live it, and understand it by paying attention to rhythm, reflection, and being present. Stars and other celestial markers broke up the flow of cosmic time, which gave it a sense of order. As night fell and the first stars began to shine in the sky, people could see the slow, deliberate dance of the stars, with angels making sure that each movement was in sync. The stars were like soft ripples on the river, showing the way and lighting the way in both the real world and the spiritual world. People might want to stop under the night sky and breathe slowly, feeling the rhythm of their own heartbeats sync up with the eternal river. Even small changes, like the seasons changing or things happening that weren't planned, were absorbed into the gentle flow, which reminded people that order still existed even when things seemed to be out of order. Time's river didn't just flow through things we could see. It flowed through everything we did, felt, and experienced. People who lived in the village did their morning chores. Kids played in meadows, and older people took care of sacred spaces. The Archangels' guidance made sure that every gesture and choice fit into the bigger picture, like a note in the symphony of life. Mistakes or misunderstandings were like little whirlpools that briefly changed the flow but always came back to the main current with the help of heavenly guardians. Living in the river of time became a meditation for me, a gentle, ongoing practice of being aware, thinking, and trusting the unseen forces that kept everything in balance. People could use the image of flowing water to help them understand cosmic time. Life went on with the help of angels, just like a river goes around rocks, bends, and shallow pools without losing its ultimate direction. Uriel's light showed the best paths. Michael's steadiness gave a solid base. Raphael's gentleness calmed emotional waves, and Gabriel's whispers suggested clarity at important points. In this way, time felt like a living, breathing thing that made people think calmly and feel like everything was connected. Every moment, whether it was happy, hard, or boring, was a meaningful part of the eternal flow. The river also gave people a sense of continuity across generations. Parents and older people thought about their lives and realized that angels had helped them make decisions and have experiences. Kids learned about rhythm, responsibility, and how to align with divine order by watching the patterns of everyday life. Even the smallest things people do, like planting seeds or cooking, had an effect on the larger cosmic current. This reinforced the idea that life is connected, and that every ripple affects the flow downstream. Being aware of being a part of this eternal rhythm made people feel grateful, mindful, and humbly aware that everything they did was part of a huge and sacred continuum. The way the light and shadow played on the river throughout the day was like the way time itself moved. The Archangels' actions were unseen, but people could feel them in the way they moved through each hour, carefully, attentively, and in harmony. Decisions, feelings, and thoughts flowed around problems like water, never hurried or forced, and were gently guided by the presence of heavenly caretakers. The river's course stayed calm, even when human curiosity and desire caused ripples. This was because of the ongoing care and careful planning that kept free will and divine rhythm in balance. The eternal flow of cosmic time, as seen in Ethiopia, gave people a deep sense of peace and connection. By watching, taking part in, and thinking about the rhythm of life, people became aware of the deeper patterns that controlled both the heavens and their own lives. Every sunrise, every ripple on a river, and every whisper of wind through trees reminded me that time wasn't a constant march, but a living, flowing continuum that angels carefully tended by moving quietly through the currents to keep the world in balance and help people live with awareness, peace, and gentle understanding. The link between heaven and earth was fragile but very clear. It was like a soft thread that ran through every moment of human life, lit up by the gentle presence of angels who moved with care and purpose. Instead of seeing these heavenly beings as far-off figures, you could picture them as bridges that gracefully arch between the bright worlds above and the fertile lands below. Their wings were not just for flying. They were also subtle channels of energy that brought wisdom, light, and guidance from the vast divine world to the quiet, living world of humans. As the sun rose over rolling hills and old stone villages in Ethiopia, this connection became a part of daily life, a hidden awareness that made every breath, gesture, and thought feel sacred. Uriel was both bright and gentle, and he was the light of understanding, a soft glow that connected divine insight to human awareness. When a villager stopped to look at the horizon or a child stayed under the shade of an acacia tree out of curiosity, it was as if the Archangel's light touched their minds, drawing their attention to subtle patterns in nature and helping them see the divine order in simple things. Every ripple in a stream, every rustle of leaves, and even the way dew sparkled on grass showed this quiet conversation between heaven and earth. People could feel it if they moved slowly, carefully, and with an open mind to the world around them. Michael's calm and steady presence helped keep this bridge between worlds stable. You could see how he had an effect on people by how sure they were as they went about their daily lives. While farmers worked on their fields, elders said prayers, or families planned meals for festivals, there was a quiet feeling of safety and guidance in each action. People felt a connection, a sense of safety in knowing that the rhythm of life was being held gently by unseen hands, even if they didn't realize it. Michael's job was not to command, but to protect the connection so that it stayed strong and continued to support both divine purpose and human involvement in the ongoing orchestration of existence. Raphael moved with a more intimate, tender grace, paying attention to the emotional and spiritual currents of this connection. When people were scared, sad, or unsure, they could picture his touch as a gentle breeze, a warming sunbeam, or a comforting presence that calmed their hearts and gave them new clarity. In moments of contemplation, whether in solitary prayer or quiet reflection beneath the night sky, individuals perceived the subtle influence of the Archangel in ways that language failed to articulate. The link between heaven and earth was not fixed. It was felt in the rise and fall of emotions, the sudden realization of patterns, and the subtle alignment of thoughts with the universe's rhythm. Gabriel's whispers brought the unseen messages of this divine bridge, which often came as quick impressions or quiet nudges of intuition. A young person choosing a path, a mother thinking about how to care for her family, or a teacher thinking about how to best help a student. All of these people might feel an almost imperceptible guidance, a suggestion or insight that felt both personal and universal. These nudges didn't push or rush people. Instead, they offered a gentle hand, reminding people that they were part of a huge, interconnected system, where their choices, thoughts, and actions were in line with the divine order and helped the flow between realms. The bridge's visual metaphors were all over the place. At dawn, mist rising from the valleys looked like a soft curtain that had been lifted between the earth and the sky. The light that came through it made iridescent patterns that made it look like angels were moving beyond sight, Streams showed the changing colors of morning, just like the careful balance between human life and heavenly guidance. Even the shadows that ancient trees cast on stone paths sent a subtle message of connection. The way light and dark played off of each other reminded people that heaven's influence touched all levels of experience, mixing the seen and the unseen in a constant conversation of guidance and care. When people acted with awareness and respect, they became aware participants in this ongoing bridge. A simple act, like planting a seed, giving food, or saying a prayer, could send ripples through the layers of connection, making the link between heaven and earth stronger. The angels, who were always paying attention, made small changes to make sure that even the smallest human action helped keep creation in harmony. The relationship was never forced. It was a natural flow of give and take, where people had power while still being in tune with the divine's rhythms and goals. The seasons also showed this bridge in a clear way. Every change, from the soft rains that helped crops grow to the slow movement of light across the horizon, was a sign of divine timing in the world. Angels guided these changes with a care that people could feel, even if it was only for a short time. The warmth of the sun at just the right time, the cool evening breeze coming in a gentle rhythm, and the smell of flowers blooming at just the right time. These moments help me understand that human life is connected to cosmic cycles, even though it may seem like it's separate. Each person is part of a larger, harmonious system. The bridge between heaven and earth became most clear at night when it was quiet. Stars, lined up and moving in soft arcs across the sky, showed that heavenly beings cared. People who lay under this canopy felt both the vastness of the universe and the closeness of God's attention. Angels moved quietly through the dark spaces, guiding time, emotion, and thought without making a big deal out of it. Every heartbeat, every whisper of wind, and every flicker of starlight reminded me that connection was always there and would last forever. It didn't depend on people noticing it. It was there for anyone who stopped to notice it. The bridge could not be broken by even small problems caused by fallen angels, because the Archangels' care was steady and constant. Uriel, Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel stepped in gently when there was confusion, distraction, or a slight imbalance. They helped people focus, made things clearer, and brought emotional and spiritual states back into balance. People who were feeling uncertain or tense for a short time could rely on these soft undercurrents of guidance. They could sense that the bigger picture was still in place and that the connection between the divine and the earthly was always there, waiting for them to notice and align with it. People learned the bridge's rhythms without even trying. They were part of the ongoing flow of connection by moving slowly, paying close attention, and being aware of what they were doing. People didn't always consciously feel the presence of angels, but they were always there, in every part of life. The quiet steps of daily life, the mindful preparation of meals, the careful care of fields and flocks, and the reflective moments beneath dawn's first light or the night sky full of stars. Heaven and earth were not separate places. They were part of a single fabric that angels carefully stitched together so that people could walk along the bridge with confidence, peace, and a sense of belonging in the vast order of creation. Ancient scriptures, meticulously safeguarded over the centuries, imparted lessons that revealed themselves gradually, akin to the gentle undulation of a river, steering humanity towards comprehension, contemplation, and serene development. These texts were not just lists of events or rules to follow. They were living stories that talked about how angels, the divine, and people interacted in subtle ways that were in tune with the rhythms of life. The verses seemed to breathe as you read them, showing layers of meaning that were both practical and spiritual, giving advice without rushing you and wisdom without telling you what to do, as if softly spoken over time by voices that understood the human heart. The teachings came to life. One of the main ideas in these old texts was that every moment was important, even if it didn't seem like it. People were told to pay close attention and look for patterns in the cycles of nature, the passage of time, and how they interact with each other. The text said that angels quietly changed these patterns, making things happen in ways that were both clear and hidden. When a child played in the shade of a tree, when a farmer planted seeds in a rhythmic way to get ready for the seasons, or when a family ate together, these things were all in sync with cosmic rhythms, which is what the scriptures say is harmony. To see these connections, you had to be patient, quiet, and think about them. These are all qualities that helped you slowly become aware of the deeper patterns in life. The scriptures also stressed how important it is to find balance in yourself and in your interactions with the world. Stories about people and angels making moral decisions, facing temptations, and dealing with the problems that arise when divine order is broken taught lessons. These stories made it seem like life was always a mix of light and dark, action and thought, guidance and free will. In Ethiopia, like in many other ancient cultures, these ideas were a part of everyday life. They guided not only religious practices but also how people acted in society, how they farmed, and how they celebrated holidays and sacred days. The scriptures told people to see themselves as part of a bigger story, where every thought, word, and action added to the balance of life. Allegory and metaphor often taught moral lessons in a subtle way. For example, the way stars moved across the night sky was not only described as astronomical observation, but also as a reflection of the values of order, patience, and attentiveness. People were encouraged to see the slow, deliberate movements of the stars and planets as examples for their own lives. This reminded them that growth and understanding happen slowly, with the help of angels and the wisdom that is built into creation. Watching these rhythms made me more aware of the present moment, grateful for the timing of events, and confident that things would happen as God planned. The scriptures also talked about how important it is to be humble and think about things. Stories of people who looked for wisdom, were patient, or listened to higher understanding were always praised. On the other hand, stories of people who were hasty, proud, or refused to listen to advice were used as examples of how to be more restrained. This duality was shown not as a judgment but as a gentle lesson, a way for people to understand how their actions affect others in a natural, cause and effect way. The angelic presence made it clear that help was always available, but people still had free will, so every choice was a chance to learn, think, and get in sync with the divine rhythm. Reading these texts deeply often showed how human feelings are connected to the order of the universe. Joy, sorrow, hope, and doubt were portrayed as inherent currents within the river of existence, flowing in tandem with the movements of angels, the sun, the moon, and the stars. A passage about a person who is feeling hopeless could also be about Raphael taking care of the patient and soothing their heart, or Uriel quietly shining light on a difficult situation. In this way, Scripture served as both a mirror and a guide, showing people what was going on inside them and giving them ideas for how to fit in with the bigger patterns of life. Lessons from ancient texts were not just about abstract ideas, they were also about real-life situations and experiences. The timing of planting, harvesting, communal rituals, and prayer was all described as being guided by the stars, suggesting that paying attention to these cycles was a moral and spiritual practice in and of itself. People who consciously followed these rhythms and tuned into the flow of days, months, and seasons, were gently reminded that discipline, mindfulness, and observation were just as important as acts of explicit devotion. The scriptures said that being aware of divine rhythms helped people find peace within themselves and harmony with others. This was a bridge between the everyday and the holy. The stories in the scriptures also showed how hard it is to find the right balance between knowledge and wisdom. Some stories told of angels who gave people forbidden knowledge and the small effects that followed. These lessons weren't meant to be punishments. They were meant to teach people how to think, reflect, and be responsible. People were told to be patient and humble when trying to understand things, and to remember that insight is most useful when it is balanced with awareness of the bigger picture. The angelic influence was always there, guiding people to make choices that were in line with the cosmic rhythm. It taught that true understanding came not just from learning facts, but from combining knowledge with moral and spiritual insight. The texts often added emotional depth to their lessons by talking about how people struggle, doubt, and wonder. One could imagine a villager standing beneath a starry sky, reading or hearing these ancient stories, and feeling both the weight and the beauty of life's rhythms. Angels, while invisible, were ever-present companions in these moments, their guidance subtle and comforting. Through reflection, humans were invited to cultivate patience, empathy, and attentiveness, learning that the quiet observation of life, attuned to cosmic order, revealed lessons of profound subtlety and enduring relevance. Ultimately, the scriptures emphasized connection, alignment, and attentiveness. Humans, angels, stars, and seasons existed in a harmonious interplay, each element contributing to a larger tapestry of existence. By gently observing, reflecting, and participating, humans could recognize the patterns underlying both visible and invisible realms. The texts encouraged a deep, almost meditative awareness, fostering an understanding that moral and spiritual lessons were not external impositions, but inherent truths waiting to be discovered through experience, contemplation, and alignment with the eternal rhythm of life. As night fell over the Ethiopian highlands, a hush descended upon the land, a gentle quiet that seemed to make the air itself heavier with possibility and anticipation. The stars came out one by one, like distant lanterns lighting up the dark sky. Each one was a quiet guard, keeping an eye on the world below. They moved with a subtle, almost imperceptible rhythm, their light shimmering in soft pulses like a slow heartbeat echoing through the cosmos. Angels, ever present yet unseen, accompanied them in this nocturnal vigil, attending to the invisible threads that connected the heavens to earth, ensuring that every glimmer, every twinkle, carried meaning, guidance, and gentle order. Uriel's presence was felt in the clarity with which starlight illuminated the world. Though invisible to human eyes, his guiding energy seemed to make the celestial patterns intelligible to those who paused long enough to watch and wonder. Villagers, gazing at the sky, would notice the gentle alignment of constellations, a harmony that seemed both natural and divinely arranged. It was as if each star held a soft whisper, a message carried not in words, but in rhythm and pattern. And those who listened with the heart rather than the mind could sense the guidance flowing quietly through the night. Even the tiniest movements, like a distant star's twinkle or the faint alignment of a cluster, were full of meaning. They were a sign that the cosmos was alive, paying attention and carefully planned. Michael moved among these bright spots with a steady, calm presence, making sure that the order of the stars was kept. His effect was soft but strong, like a quiet stream keeping the flow of a river steady so that ripples of doubt didn't break the peace of the night. Michael's watchful care kept the cosmic dance going. Even though each star was bright and beautiful, and each movement was part of a larger rhythm, people under the night sky might feel a subtle sense of safety and alignment, a calm reassurance that, even in the dark, there was still order and guidance. The night was not a void, but a nexus, where angels silently linked heaven and earth, intertwining invisible strands of harmony that humans could perceive if they tuned into the tranquility. Raphael's influence gave this nighttime rhythm a soft, emotional quality. He paid attention not only to the movement of the stars, but also to the quiet stirrings of people's hearts, making sure that reflection, awe, and calm understanding could grow. When a young person stayed outside after dark, looking at the stars above, or an older person thought about the day's events in quiet contemplation, Raphael's touch seemed to guide their emotions, calming their worries and sparking their interest. He made the night a place of peace and quiet revelation, a time when people could feel like they were part of a bigger, gentler rhythm that included the earth, the stars, and the angels' quiet watchfulness. Gabriel's whispers were like a gentle breeze in the night sky, bringing messages and advice without breaking the peaceful silence. People who were attuned could pick up on brief impressions, small pieces of information that helped them make decisions, understand relationships, or think about themselves. These weren't orders or commands. They were soft suggestions that fit with the way the universe works. To the casual observer, a star's twinkle might seem random, but to the attentive heart, it became a soft signal in the ongoing conversation between the heavenly and the earthly. Gabriel's care reminded people that the night was not empty, but full of meaning, and that angels moved slowly and carefully to make sure that the universe's rhythm stayed steady. Even when people weren't paying much attention, the way light and shadow played off each other under the stars made this feeling of quiet connection even stronger. The soft light of the moon, which bounced off of roofs, fields, and rivers, brought out textures and shapes that are often missed during the day. Shadows moved in a subtle way, making delicate patterns on the ground that made it seem like angels were working in the spaces between what we can see. The night itself became a soft teacher, showing that even in what seemed like darkness, there was order, purpose, and grace. People lying under the sky, breathing slowly, and watching quietly, could feel this presence. They could tell that every star, shadow, and flicker of light was part of an ongoing harmony that was being carefully maintained by unseen hands. Even the tiniest things that happen in space, like a comet passing by or a meteor slowly moving, were important. They were reminders that the universe was not still, but alive, moving to a rhythm set by angels who took care of every detail. People might find these moments both awe-inspiring and comforting, as a gentle reminder to go with the flow of life. In this nighttime space, where time seemed to move more slowly and smoothly, it was easy to think about things, and the realization that you were part of something bigger came to you naturally, like a quiet understanding growing in the depths of your mind and heart. The soft whispers of the stars and angels made a rhythm that was so subtle it was almost like music. Every pulse of light and every passing shimmer could be felt as a note in a silent symphony, a cosmic lullaby meant to calm, make you think, and even put you to sleep. People who were in tune with this melody could feel their thoughts and feelings coming together, and their hearts and minds could sync up with the slower, more stable rhythms of the universe. It wasn't a grand show. It was a quiet, constant presence that guided without getting in the way and taught through observation and gentle experience. Even when small things happened, like clouds moving across constellations, people getting confused for a short time, or fallen angels having a strange effect on things, the overall rhythm stayed the same. The angel's presence made sure that balance was restored without any rush or worry. People could feel that the universe was both huge and very close to their lives as they watched the soft, steady flow of stars and light. Each moment was a whisper of guidance, and each glimmer of light was a reminder that they were part of something much bigger than themselves. As the night went on, the bond between people and angels grew stronger. Every slow movement of the stars across the sky and every small change in light and shadow made me feel like I belonged and was safe. People could close their eyes under the soft cover of night and picture themselves wrapped in a gentle, protective rhythm that went along with the work of celestial guardians. The stars whispered all the time, but they didn't get in the way. They were a reminder that the universe was alive, paying attention and caring, guiding life's quiet, unfolding with patient care and gentle precision. As the night went on over the Ethiopian landscape, a deep stillness fell over the fields, rivers, and villages. It was a peaceful silence that seemed to hum with the hidden rhythm of the universe. The stars, which were countless and bright, twinkled like scattered gems, each one giving off its own quiet, patient guidance. Angels moved through this quiet space with soft grace, their presence fragile but steady. They watched over the balance of night, making sure that every shadow and glimmer fell in line with the divine pattern. People who stopped to watch, even for a short time, could feel the universe's subtle pulse, a rhythm that made the heart slow down, the mind relax, and the spirit connect with something bigger than itself. The night was like a soft, never-ending tapestry, with the movements of stars, the sound of the wind, and the watchful eyes of angels, all woven into it. Uriel's soft light lit up the paths of thought and reflection, gently leading people to a place of inner peace. There was no rush or need to hurry in the stillness. Moments unfolded slowly, perfectly balanced with each other. It felt like time had taken a breath, stretching and softening, making room for quiet and reflection. The soft light of the stars across the land looked like a slow-moving story, a visual meditation that made people feel like they were part of a bigger, longer-lasting rhythm. Michael's constant presence kept this harmony going, and the flow of time and energy at night kept going without a hitch. The small movements of stars and planets, the slow movement of clouds across constellations, and the gentle sway of trees in the evening breeze were all part of a complicated dance that was coordinated but not seen, delicate but exact. People could feel a connection to this order, a sense of comfort that even though life is complicated, the universe has an inherent balance that is guided by both seen and unseen forces. Every breath taken under the stars was a gentle reminder of that alignment, a chance to connect personal thoughts with the rhythm of the universe. Raphael's presence made the night feel warm and comforting, like a soft reminder that help and comfort were always close by, even when it got darker. His touch seemed to flow through the stillness of the night, through the sway of leaves, the shimmer of water in the moonlight, and the distant flicker of firelight in village homes. These small, almost unnoticeable acts of kindness made people slow down their thoughts, take deep breaths, and notice the small miracles of calm that were happening all around them. The night turned into a time for meditation, a chance to think about things, look inside yourself, and gently understand your place in the bigger picture of life. Gabriel's whispering light moved through the sky like a soft current, quietly connecting stars to human awareness. Most people couldn't see this connection, but people who were paying attention could. Small insights coming up on their own, a sense of peace coming over them without any effort, and a feeling that all the parts of life were in sync with each other in a subtle, invisible way. The interaction between how people see things and how angels guide them made them aware of their surroundings in a calm way. This state of mind was like meditation, where worries felt lighter, thoughts were deeper, and the mind was more open to gentle understanding. The night was meant to hold consciousness in a soft alignment, making it easier to be aware of existence as part of a larger, harmonious whole. The sensory world of the night made this effect even stronger. The cool wind on the skin, the faint smell of earth and flowers in the air, and the quiet sounds of nocturnal animals all blended perfectly with the stars in the distance. The sounds and smells all came together to make a quiet symphony, a meditation on how everything in life is connected. Celestial guardians made sure that each part moved in its own gentle rhythm. People could feel this soft harmony all around them, whether they were lying under the sky or walking along moonlit paths. It was like a living meditation in which the cosmos and consciousness danced together in a planned but easy way. The rhythm of the stars and planets seemed almost real as the night went on. Stars moved slowly across the sky, casting soft shadows that slowly danced over the hills and valleys. The moonlight made soft arcs of light across rivers and stone walls, bringing out shapes and textures that had been hidden during the day. Angels watched over the stars and the earth's slow movements, making sure that every moment passed in a calm way, like a lullaby for the world. Even small changes, like ripples of wind, clouds moving, or animals moving, fit right into the rhythm, keeping the night balanced and giving everyone who saw it a sense of peace that never stopped. In this softly orchestrated space, people found a natural place to think and get on the same page. Thoughts that had seemed scattered during the day began to settle like sediment in calm water. Emotions flowed more gently, and awareness grew slowly, like sunlight brushing over the horizon. The night made people quiet and focused, open to both the things they could see and the things they couldn't that shaped the world. Angelic guidance, which was quiet but deep, helped the heart see subtle patterns that connected personal experience to the larger cycles of nature, stars, and cosmic time. The feeling of entering the night in harmony went beyond just looking at the world. It became an internal process, a meditation on rhythm, patience, and attunement. The angelic presence, though unseen, was very comforting. It reminded me that even in the dark, there was care, structure, and purpose. People could let their minds float along with this gentle rhythm, feeling both the mystery and the order of the universe without having to control or think about it. The quiet dance of stars, shadows, and celestial guidance made a safe place for consciousness to rest, think, and slowly understand the eternal patterns in which life unfolded. Even though some stars were hidden by clouds that were moving, and the night got darker as it got closer to dawn, the harmony stayed strong. Every movement, every whisper of light, and every fluttering shadow added to the overall rhythm that surrounded the land. People could feel themselves slowly relaxing as they became aware of the soft pulse of celestial order. There was no rush, no alarm, only the angels' patient, never-ending work to keep things in balance. This made sure that both the night and those watching it were completely immersed in the flow of cosmic harmony. As the night slowly turned into the first light of dawn, a deep sense of completion spread across the Ethiopian landscape. The stars, having slowly and carefully moved across the sky, began to fade in the soft light of early morning, their work done in perfect silence. Angels walked among them with calm, unhurried grace, their work done but still going on. This was a reminder that the harmony of the universe was not maintained for show, but for the subtle well-being of the world below. The sky itself seemed to breathe in relief, a gentle exhalation that brought peace to rivers, valleys, and villages, wrapping every living thing that moved beneath it in a sense of quiet security. Uriel's light, soft and steady, stayed on the horizon, lighting up the world with a calm understanding that time was a gift, moving at just the right speed. People, whether they were awake or still asleep, could feel this gentle rhythm in their minds. They knew that the heavenly guidance of the night had brought more than just patterns of stars. It had also given them a deep sense of comfort that everything was moving in divine order. Angels carefully cared for the harmony of the heavens, which could be seen in the movements of the earth, the sway of trees, the ripple of water, and even the quiet rhythms of the human heart. The balance was felt, like a soft vibration in the air, like the echo of a lullaby that traveled across the land. There was no need for words or an explanation. Michael's presence brought everything back into a gentle, steady rhythm, from the smallest hour to the larger flow of days and months. The smallest disturbances caused by unseen forces or brief human mistakes were quietly absorbed, creating a calm balance that allowed for rest and reflection. In the stillness of the early morning, people could feel the angels' protective and guiding work. Their subtle presence wove patience, understanding, and quiet mindfulness into the start of the day. The shadows and memories of the night taught me how to find my rhythm, helping my soul connect with the universe's constant flow. Raphael's gentle touch made this calm moment more emotional. Hearts that were once heavy with worry or doubt now felt a gentle ease, a quiet reassurance that the world, with all of its many parts, was still in order and being cared for. As the sky slowly brightened, every breath felt like it was filled with the calm presence of angelic guardians. Even small human actions, like stretching, blinking in the morning light, or noticing a bird's flutter, made people feel connected to the universe. The work done that night wasn't dramatic or obvious in big ways, but it had a big effect, giving people patience, calm, and clear thinking that would stay with them all day. Gabriel's influence flowed through the early light like a gentle current, bringing whispers of advice, quiet encouragement, and soft reflection. If people paid attention for even a second, they could feel the angels' work around them. They could feel a calm sense that the flow of time, the order of the stars, and the unfolding of life were all part of a careful, loving plan. There was no hurry or need to hold on or control. The world was a teacher, and angels were its calm, patient helpers. Every sound, from the rustling leaves to the distant morning calls, became a meditation on harmony. This helped the mind settle, the heart soften, and sleep release completely if it lingered, gently carrying the human spirit into the promise of a new day. The cosmic balance went beyond what could be seen. Both stars and angels took part in a rhythm that affected not only how people saw things, but also the very essence of life. Even though you couldn't see it, you could feel time passing in its gentle flow, like how one heartbeat followed another without a break or how the river's surface mirrored the slow dance of light across the sky. People could feel this flow, which was an unbroken thread that connected night to day, earth to heavens, and the finite to the eternal, even when they were alone and quiet. Angels, in their quiet work, made sure that every pulse of the universe stayed soft and true, keeping the peace of creation in a way that words could never fully describe. The natural world itself reflected this peace and balance. The trees moved slowly and gently, and the leaves caught the first light like whispers of gold. The rivers carried both water and a sense of continuity across the land, and the mountains stood still, silently watching time unfold in an orderly way. Every living thing, whether it was awake or still dreaming, was part of this harmony, which was guided by the unseen hands of heavenly guardians. There was a quiet invitation here to take a deep breath, feel the pulse of the world, and see how human life fits in with the eternal patterns that govern the universe. During these times, the idea of divine order became almost real. The work of angels, the rhythm of the stars, the passage of time, and the stillness of night all came together to make a peaceful meditation. People could feel that everything, even things that seemed random or out of control, was part of a bigger plan. They were moving with care and purpose, even if that purpose was hard to see. It was very peaceful to know that the universe, which is huge and complicated, was not indifferent. It was tuned in, responsive, and gently guided, letting human hearts rest in the knowledge of its quiet wisdom. The last peace fell over the land as the first rays of the sun began to warm it. The whispers of the night faded away, leaving behind a lasting feeling of peace. Angels went back to their watchful places, not leaving, but being there in quieter, more subtle ways to make sure that the harmony of time, light, and life stayed. People could remember this peaceful night for the rest of their lives. It would be a reminder of cosmic balance and angelic care that would stay with them throughout the day, in their thoughts, dreams, and quiet moments of reflection. The world, though awake, still felt the gentle touch of a night that was perfectly aligned, when celestial guidance and human awareness met in soft, lasting harmony. The night didn't end with a big show. Instead, it ended in perfect, peaceful balance, with the stars dimming, the angels moving quietly, and the first light of morning painting the Ethiopian horizon. Every heartbeat, breath, and slow movement of nature echoed the guardians of time's subtle rhythm, putting people in a state of gentle reflection and preparing them to face the day with calm, peace, and a deeper connection to both the earth and the heavens above.